believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. Give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim. We are definitely encountering some censorship tonight, so if you're wondering whether you can watch us or not, we are broadcasting, but some of you are unable to see our entire show because of some changes on one of the networks. I'm of the belief that many of these changes are occurring under our feet because we are growing and they don't want to accommodate the number of people that want to come in here. We're still working on getting a guest room set up so that people have IP privacy, yet can come in without signing in and having a two-party authentication like all the shows are doing now, which makes it almost impossible for people overseas to get into the show. Today, ABC has admitted to faking the news. In this constant liberal attempt by the media to push their agenda, mostly ABC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN, they're now having to fake media. So we've got ABC admitting to using fake footage of the Kurdish slaughter. Now, we talked about one civilian death from the recent Turkish involvement in the border with Syria. We don't know how many civilians are dead, but the reality is it's not as bad as they're painting it out to be. Hello, welcome. We are broadcasting. The show is starting right now. Many of you are just getting into the show. We got issues about JFK being talked about, JFK Jr. The QAnon group is pitching this idea that JFK Jr. is alive. No, JFK Jr. died as a result of a terrible plane accident, could have been even sabotaged. The strange thing about the JFK Jr. assassination is it has never really been deeply investigated by the NTSB, and they've never revealed the results. That leads people to speculate. But in reality, they found him and his wife as fish food. Yeah, I believe her sister was on board too as fish food. Anyway, I have solid intuition that JFK Jr. is dead, okay? If you want to believe he's coming back, good luck. Well, the fake news mantra that Donald Trump is using is essentially guiding a lot of you people into duh land, where you believe everything's fake news. Instead of listening to what happens or somebody accusing Donald Trump of something, you just say, oh, no, that's Donald's right. It's all fake news. So you don't have to think. You don't even have to process the information. That's seemingly a disturbing bit of information is coming out right now that Donald Trump has dropped 17% toward impeachment. 17% more people now want impeachment than 2 months ago. That's a significant poll that came out that is showing people that the general assessment here is that we don't want a president that's tweeting all the time and then lying about what he said in the White House and telling his people not to release information, whether it's related to the whistleblower Ukraine situation or whether it's even Dan McGahn. He won't even let Dan McGahn testify. And he's already testified that Donald Trump was running around the White House screaming that he wanted to fire Mueller, which is obstruction of justice. So all of this is making many people overwhelmed with information. So it's easier just to say it's all fake news, right? It's all a Russian hoax. It's a thing that is happening. It's a phenomenon that's happening.
Apparently,
now,
your hand's broken. You're unable to do it yourself.
Never said.
An atrocity has occurred in Dallas, Fort Worth that hit the news today. There was a shooting of a young woman who was simply checking on her grandmother, and she went into her home to check on her grandmother who wasn't there. She was getting her stuff, I guess, and the neighbors thought that her home was being broken into, so reported to the police. Police came by and immediately looked in a window and saw this woman sitting there and said, pointed their gun and said, "Put your hands up," and then didn't even announce themselves as the police, right? Just said, "Put your hands up." She had 2 seconds to respond. She didn't put her hands up and they shot her in the head. She's dead. Here's a similar story, but let's take a look at this first. Her brother was out speaking. Atrocities are occurring at Fort Worth. We got to get ahead of this problem because it seems that people are being targeted, especially black people. Aaron Dean, the officer who killed Tatiana. Oh, I can't look at this article. Okay. Apparently you have to have an account with New York Times to see anything now. The news will be for hire very shortly. But she was in her home playing video games with her nephew, and she had her head blown off. The shooting of a 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson came less than 2 weeks after a white police officer in another Texas city received a 10-year prison sentence for the fatal 2018 shooting of a black man in his apartment. Okay, let's look at this other story from Live Leak.
My hands broke. I said, under what law? You're not informing me. Under what
I
law?
don't have to inform you with shit. I ask you to open your door. You can open
What's your name,
door.
sir?
None of your goddamn
And what's your
business.
badge number?
None of your business. That's my badge number. How about this? How about you open your fucking door?
And what's going to happen?
You're back-
With your
Yeah.
intimidation and your incrimination, what's going to happen?
I don't give a fuck, dude. And I'll tell you this right
You're
now.
weird, bro.
Oh, this is going to
You're
get
scaring
really
me.
bad. Good. I hope you are scared. Who
I
else
am.
have you got in the room with you? Is it just
Who
you?
are you?
Don't worry about it.
What's your badge number? What's your name? What is the what
None
is
of your business.
and under what law and what grounds are you trying to come in here on?
You're a tenant on this property, bud. You don't have any rights.
All right. Let me see something. What just happened, bro? Turn my phone up when
He said you're a tenant in somebody's property. You don't have any rights. Can you believe this?
yeah, now what?
Hey, let's go. Oh, nothing. We're just sitting here.
You never identified yourself. This is the wrong person. You guys are still harassing me? Y'all still harassing me? Y'all don't even know who he is. Y'all don't even know who he is. You 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 don't even know who he is.
On the ground.
You don't even know who he is. You don't even know who he is.
On the ground.
I already been to your office, bro. You guys been harassing
I
me.
know you. I know who you are.
Who is? Say his name then. Say his name
Back
then.
off.
Say his name then.
Name's Cujon Thompson.
Wrong person. Wrong person.
That's
Wrong
fine, you don't have to
person.
answer
Wrong
the question.
person.
But
This is
you
not
don't comply.
Cujon.
I'm
This
gonna
is
give
not
you the count-
Cujon Thompson.
I'm going to give you the count of 3, and then you're going to get on your knees.
No, hey, you ain't. I'll slap the fuck out you. Get away from me. Stop touching me. I'm not walking towards you. I'm walking away from you. Don't touch me then. Don't touch me.
On the ground.
Hey, he don't have to do none of that. PD's on their way out. See, you just fucked up. Hey, yo, that's a fat lawsuit. That's a fat lawsuit. You.
What is this? It's almost like this is put on. She looks like like she could be in she could be like a film star. She looks so good. I mean, is this for real? Is this put on or what?
The weirdo, look at you.
I doubt she'd be working on the police force. Is she a porn star, really? Is this what yeah, I'm beginning to believe this is all fake. Let's watch it.
You're a weirdo. You're ugly, too. You're ugly. Look at her ugly ass face. She ugly as fuck. You're ugly as shit. You're not tall enough.
That's not my name.
That's not his name. Y'all just fucked up big time. I'm not going towards them. I'm documenting.
Okay, try to spit in my face, see what happens.
Now, I gave you my back. Now
Get
what?
away from
I
me.
gave you my back. Now what? Why you guys trying to do it behind the wall, away from everybody? And why is she trying to block me? I'm not walking up to her. I'm gonna walk away. Now move.
Walk away.
Look, he's trying to. Wow, look. He just fucked up. Keith, that's money. That's money. That's the wrong.
Wow. Okay, we got another one coming up. Mad Dog's got something he wants to show us.
Morning, everybody. Okay, let's start with Washington, please. I don't care about the other stuff in the event. Okay, I don't care about them. Let's just.
Okay, this is Veritas. They do a lot of interviews, and they have an insider blow the whistle on network president Jeff Zucker, whose personal vendetta is against the president. You know, I don't believe that's the case, but Jeff Zucker has always been a good friend of Donald Trump, so it's hard to believe that this is real, but I'm going to play it for you later tonight, Bad Dog. Thanks for the link. I respect what Veritas is trying to do. Jeff Zucker's always been good friends with Donald Trump. I almost think that they're putting on a big facade of left versus right, right versus left constantly. It's a scam to divide the nation. You like the hair? Thank you. Yep. Kind of nice, huh? Thank you. You know, we can also process this as a nonstop problem that's been going on for some time with no response from Barack Obama or Donald Trump regarding any of these problems. No sensitivity training for cops. Now, I posted a link today to the story of this woman. Okay, we've got a possible chat room here, Yesy chat. Could be fun. Okay. Yeah, we see a lot of these things that are we see a lot of people who are using various names to get into an account. Getting into an account is not a big deal. Logging in, being a part of a big chat, the Y99 network, we've already been involved in that. Yeah. I don't really know if I could even create a chat room on the Y99 network. We were attacked heavily on the Y99 network. It turns out that the backbone of the Y99 network is DDoSable. No, there's no guest chat anymore. The Pro account was suspended. They claim in the news item at iVlog that the Pro account is no longer working. And believe me, I'd love to play the links for you, but I'd have to open up another link on Periscope here. Let's do that. It's just getting more and more complicated broadcasting on iVlog. They're trying to pull every means they can out of our show and pull it away from anybody viewing it. And they've already knocked out guest chat and kept people from coming in here. So at the very least, I'll... Okay, I'll bring that in. Yeah, bear with me, everybody. I'm still doing some work to maintain the functionality of the show itself. in lieu of the fact that they literally knocked out our show. Bear with me, everybody. I'm still doing some work to maintain the functionality of the show itself, in lieu of the fact that they literally knocked out. Okay. Now you've got the show broadcast over there at iBlog. Is sound back on? Let me just get a verification here. You can see it and hear it, right? Okay. It's delayed, but it's better than nothing. I saw or played your climate video. You started at the end and left the room. I saw the climate. I had to leave the video. Do you want to see the climate video again? I think everyone saw it already, so what's the big deal? We're talking about a slaughter in Syria that matches fake news from an actual gun range in Turkey that ABC simply used that footage, and they've already admitted it.
This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought alongside the U.S. against ISIS. Now, horrific reports of atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies. This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought alongside the U.S. against ISIS. Now, horrific reports of atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies. This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought alongside the U.S. against ISIS. Now, horrific...
Okay, that's on repeat, so we don't want to repeat it. Yeah, so that's exactly what we're dealing with. Fakery going on left and right. Now, I'm addressing the issue that many of you Trump supporters have been essentially using a simple answer to everything in response to all these allegations against Donald Trump. You simply call it fake news. It's all a Russian hoax. And unfortunately, we've got very little confirmation that any of this is fake news. Quite the opposite. We have proof, in fact, that Donald Trump has been working with some clandestine forces, oligarchs and whatnot. It's been nearly a year, yes. I understand Jamal Khashoggi is here. Hello, Jamal. Yes, Jamal Khashoggi claims to be alive. He comes in our room on occasion. It's been a year, yeah, since you were allegedly chopped up and put in a suitcase, but they never found DNA proof that you were in the suitcase. You're being held in seclusion in the House of Saud. It's nice of them to let you live. Why does the problem stem from Oregon? He's telling me the problem stems from Oregon. You got findings? Okay, let's take a look. This is a Nike-related story. Okay, I'm not going to post it because, as you know, Nike is also involved in a lawsuit against Michael Avenatti. Could you summate exactly what it says and how it's related to you? Yeah, I don't really have the verification of what you're saying. I'd have to study it. I do like Shepard Smith. I wrote a note on Shepard Smith. I tweeted today that Shepard Smith got the bad end of the deal. They escorted him out, with security. Right, there's been fakery going on a long, long time. 9/11. Some people think Pearl Harbor was telegraphed, that FDR knew about it. In 9/11, people did die. It wasn't fake. No, yeah, saying it's fake anything, and 2,400 people died in Pearl Harbor. So it was not fake insofar as people died. It was used as a tool, a false flag to start wars. That's right. That's what happened. But saying it's fake made people think that it didn't happen. A lot of people died in both of those events. Thank you, DT Laura. Yeah, so we have a show going, everybody, and we also have our Twitch show up and running, thankfully. We got that running in time. So, yeah, 5 messages were deleted by a moderator. Good. I'm glad you're a moderator over there. I didn't know you. Oh, the one guest timed out. Thank you. The one guest is a moderator over it. I'll make you a moderator too, Scissor Fight. I just haven't done it yet. Yeah, I have to look at my board here on Twitch to see how I do that. My account was created August 22nd, 2011. Yeah, we got about 7,000 hits in about 2 months there on Twitch, and then Capital Gain banned us. Well, I can't really make a moderator right now. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability for some reason. Let me see if I can do this again. Yeah, I don't really have that ability. Unfortunately. Okay, so let's talk about briefly why people who are Trump supporters are falling into the category of constantly just saying it's all fake news, it's all Russian hoax. Because that's all they know how to do. They can't comprehend the complexity of the problems that are spinning out of control. And believe me, I've been watching these things like crazy. And there is way more to the story in every direction. Most people can't even comprehend it. The bottom line is Donald Trump is accusing Joe Biden of the same thing that he himself tried to do, according to Joe Biden and his people, obviously Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi. Both Nancy Pelosi's son and Joe Biden's son have made money at the Ukraine deal. Lots of money, like $3.4 million Burisma offered his son Hunter. It does seem that Biden got some donation money from Burisma gas holdings as well. And that raises the question, did basic Joe Biden get rid of the prosecutor using $1 billion in leverage in donations to Ukraine? And did he get rid of the prosecutor because he was going to investigate Burisma? And that's the story that Donald Trump and Giuliani are pitching. They were going to get Trey Gowdy, Donald was, on his defense, but they can't because Trey Gowdy didn't meet the qualification of being out of public service long enough. It'll be only till January that he can get Trey Gowdy working for him. So that story is a dead story. Trey Gowdy's not going to be working for Trump. Meanwhile, he's still a little bit concerned about Giuliani and his activities and how they're trying to pin the tail on Giuliani. Meanwhile, there is an ongoing investigation by the Democrats into Donald Trump's activities which involve cheating in the election and obstruction of justice, both of which qualifies high crimes and misdemeanors which would justify impeachment. There has been a willful attempt by the president to not release information, claiming he's being attacked, it's all a hoax, blah, blah, blah. The more he does that, the more guilty he'll look. So if he continues to try to stop Stonewall people on all issues related to the whistleblowers, et cetera, that'll be bad for it. So either Donald Trump starts handing over information or it'll look worse and worse for him. Meanwhile, 17% more people now want impeachment than 2 months ago. So it's all moving in that direction. Yeah, so there's nothing Donald Trump or Giuliani can do to stop the impeachment process in the House, but the Senate is now turning on Donald Trump because he's taking on ideas which I've been promoting for years, getting out of Syria and Afghanistan. And I think that that's actually a bold move by Donald to get us out of Syria, and I think it's a good move. And I think it might win over voters, and it could change the tide of public opinion rather soon. There's no solid evidence that there's some sort of ethnic cleansing going on there. It's all make-believe coming out of the liberal press, and that's been a problem from the beginning. The liberal press has been warping our view of all the wars over there for years. Yeah, we've got numerous lies happening. Conspiracy Monday merged with Censorship Monday is all about how our messaging in the media is controlled, propagandized. And they've been doing this technique for years, manipulating us. All right, so when did this start? Remember in 2010, we saw green screen beheadings that were going on. that people were being told that there were countless caliphate that were being, taking innocent people and cutting their heads off. Well, it turns out that's just a complete lie. In fact, this was reported in the news in the op-ed section, not on the main page, but it did make it to the front page that we are dealing with lies, total lies coming out of the Pentagon. Yeah, so the Pentagon spent $540 million convincing us that there were green screen beheadings. So if they were willing to do that, they're willing to lie about even a caliphate or something, a new ISIS formation, any number of things. And really the smart thing right now to do is to get disengaged from war over there. And I applaud Donald Trump's effort to do that. I really do. And you're wondering, Dave, what are you saying that for? Well, he's taking ideas that really will help us in the long run, critical stages in this process where certain territories should never have been breached. One of them was Syria. And this was a failed policy by a group of people that you could call the New World Order, if you will. And Donald seems to be bucking them by pulling out of Syria, which it almost makes me wonder if he's not a freewheeling agent now. And they don't know what to do with this guy. I would have definitely pulled us out of Syria and Afghanistan because we aren't really solving problems there. But I would have left at least a battery of anti-ballistic capability capable of defending the Kurds against incoming, but that's no longer even on the table. So whatever happens there under Erdogan's rule will probably prevail. I doubt that Bashar al-Assad will attack Turkey over this, in that they've already surrendered that area to our invasion of Syria, which happened 5 years ago. So at least you guys can watch me in the delayed broadcast over at iVlog. There's a problem with iVlog. They are not authenticating pro accounts. They won't even give stream names out to people to broadcast. They knocked me down off the main board, so I'm copying it on a backup system. So I spent a good half an hour trying to get on iVlog today. Thanks, Ace. It's a traditional hairdo designed to make me look traditional. I used to have long hair when I was young. In the 70s, I walked around kind of like a hippie. But I like shorter hair at this point in my life. Okay, we got something.
In Syria in 2011, I was living in Gaza and reporting from Gaza on the struggle of the Palestinian people against the Zionists and the illegal siege on Gaza and all the things that the Zionists are doing to oppress Palestinians, to murder Palestinians. But when events began in Syria, I started questioning the reports we were hearing from Al Jazeera and other state-owned media outlets that seemed like they weren't telling the truth. And as I dug deeper and talked with Syrians in Canada, I started learning from them that their relatives in Syria were telling them a different thing than what the media was saying. In 2014, I had the opportunity to go to Syria for my first time, although I had been deeply researching and very actively involved with Syrians abroad until that point. And as soon as I went to Syria, from the day one, I started hearing from Syrians that everything that the media had been saying about their country, about a popular uprising, nonviolent protests, about their government cracking down on them, that all these things were lies.
Okay, a person, an actual eyewitness to the lies that are going on over in Syria, produced mostly by propaganda tools for the media here in the West. You see, the New World Order has been pressing for activity in Syria for years. They wanted to take it over. The people behind the New World Order would be the Rothschild family, and they want to control all the banks in the world. Bashar al-Assad inherited his throne or presidency from his father and has been leading the nation ever since. And he's not going to give up his control. And many of the Syrian people really like him. So it's ironic that our country's been trying to break down that country and destroy it. And I think pulling out at this point is the smartest thing Trump can do. And I applaud his efforts to use my ideas and get these things going in the right direction. Maybe that'll be salvaged, whatever's left of Donald Trump's administration, before he has to resign and give the presidency over to Pence. There's a lot of people, however, in the Republican Party that don't like him now. Lindsey Graham is now siding with Pelosi. You know, he's completely fickle. He'll go either way. He flip-flops all the time, Lindsey Graham does. And he's now saying, you know, they're putting together a plan to stop Trump from pulling out of Syria. I wish the Democrats could realize whether they're anti-war or pro-war. Ever since they ratified the war in Iraq in 2007, I walked away. I couldn't stand it. I said, I'm out of here. I actually said, I don't support a party that wants to ratify war. And I was right. This war has been going on, and it went on under Obama, and even he said he didn't like it. He kept it going. So Donald Trump is showing some true courage in stepping up against these New World Order puppet controllers. Now that's if indeed he is doing that, or is he just using this as a ploy for Vladimir Putin, who really just wants us out of Syria? That's the other possibility. That Donald Trump is simply taking orders from Vladimir Putin, and he said, yeah, they want you out of Syria. No matter how many rallies Trump has in his home area or wherever he's at, he always manages to get 40,000 WWE supporters to get into his show.
Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride.
He had a big, huge event, and it was kind of sad in a way, because he doesn't talk about anything other than it's all a Russian hoax, it's all fake news, and he talks about how he's securing the border and all the talking points that I've been talking about for 10 years, but he hasn't really done that. We don't even see 100 miles of fencing. He's lying when he says he's going to have 500. We don't have anything. You love the song? Well, I hope it works out, because so far he's taken about 15 of my ideas, and if he can even do half of what he says he's going to do, it'll be better than nothing, because the Democrats were going in the wrong direction. You're traveling through another dimension. But I don't believe that Trump will finish out his administration. I don't believe he'll finish out his term. I believe he'll have to pass the torch to Pence. And they haven't really found any dirt on Pence because he violated FEC law by not presenting his emails. And the emails that he didn't present were his AOL emails. And conveniently enough, Mike Pence's emails are gone now because AOL has completely disappeared. They've evaporated. They got rid of their servers last week and wiped everything out. So it looks like they just got rid of AOL because Mike Pence had his emails on the server. I don't know. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, sorry, I'm so late.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. We just had a problem with the iVlog show.
Should we clear this off so you can put it over here?
Yeah, I was going to put it over there. I just have to disengage the plug.
Maybe it's good where you have it.
No, it actually takes up space. I'm going to put it over there. I have it like you did, running off of the Periscope show.
Uh-huh.
And it's running fine with the delay on the Periscope show. So iVlog, we're still limping along.
So
but
was it Twitch or something?
No, iVlog, I'm running it off Periscope, but iVlog has got a delay.
Okay.
Because I can't even...
Here, I'll do that.
I can't get into the main board
on iVlog.
On iVlog because they've made it so that they're updating their pro accounts, and it looks like we don't have a pro account. Now I can't even access it through here. So I managed to get in through the backup. They won't even give you your IP stream number on the main account now. It locks it out. So there's something going on with iVlog.
Maybe they've got to update from Flash to HTML5 and we do that.
Maybe, I don't know, but it seems a little bit weird. And now over there at Twitch, we had a couple people from Cameroon, and they were getting information on Reddit that Mark is soliciting them to stop us and censor us. We get a lot of this stuff every night from people all around the world saying that there's Reddit posts. If anybody has seen the Reddit post, feel free to link it here, because Sarah doesn't believe these posts exist, or she believes that maybe they are coming from trolls themselves posting it. So
no,
it's possible. I mean, I won't negate the possibility that trolls are just doing everything, but we get a lot of people saying it. We'll see. Time will tell.
Trolls like to have fun.
Well, not for 11 years of nonstop attacking. That's hard to believe that they just have fun. I think there's a real profit mechanism out there for people, and people are coming in from other parts of the world doing that.
Sorry.
Okay, so Sarah's going to take a seat and take over the show while I make some dinner.
I'm wearing this shirt because it's Columbus Day, but it's also Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yep.
And I got this from near an indigenous tribe.
That's true, yeah.
So
that's cool. I was posting tweets about one situation. Elizabeth Warren was posting indigenous tribal information today, and I just could not believe that she was doing that. It shocked me that she was claiming. So I posted back to her saying it's inappropriate and hypocritical for her to post her concerns for the Cherokee Indians. Anyway, let me get rid of that, and can't seem to find Twitch now. Let's see. Yeah, I guess it doesn't exist over there. If you want to check out the news, there was a major.
So is that Twitch down there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's Twitch. And Scissor Fight's in there hanging out. I haven't been able to figure out how to make Scissor Fight a moderator.
But somehow.
But we did have a moderator. He is our first moderator. Well, he is our permanent moderator. That one guest is. So thank you. But if you can figure out how to do that at Twitch, that'd be great.
I don't know either.
But I think it's very hypocritical for her to be. No, I don't make top ramen. It's got a lot of fluoride in it.
And it doesn't digest.
Why is the show on VHS tape tonight? We're coming through a backup system because iVlog knocked us down. You guys can go check out our new show over at Twitch if you want. You can also chat over there.
Yeah, maybe you'll like the stream better over there. It does seem pretty crisp, I have to say.
Yeah, Twitch has their video down really well. It does seem like iVlog's doing some sort of a news event down below. I was reading this. Let's see, it said that we're having no work on the news feed is now completed. However, we'll be restarting. It should reconnect automatically after a few seconds. If you're using Select, you reconnect to the chat. Sorry for the inconvenience. That was 10 hours ago. It's still not connecting for us. And let me show you what they're doing. Because we no longer have a pro account, when you go to get the stream key, it only allows it if you have a pro account. You can't see your stream key if you don't have a pro account. So you can't broadcast through that unless you have a pro account. But luckily, this is still broadcasting.
Oh, this had the stream key in it? Or
yeah, this had the stream key in it. I couldn't get it over here. They knocked me off.
So maybe you should take the stream key and make sure you put it in a safe place.
No, I did that already. It still won't broadcast here.
Oh.
Yeah, they've tricked it out.
You put the stream key and then you sent it to yourself or something.
Yeah, I actually verbatim copied it off of there and put it in there, and it won't broadcast. So
that's weird.
Yeah, there's something strange about it, and I don't really understand what it could be. But as you can see, everything's right, including the stream key over here, and it looks fine. But when I go to broadcast, let me try an experiment real quick, and just go off of this, and then I'll go back on.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was just because I opened up on the main page. Okay, let's try it now. And then we'll see if it comes up right here. And you see it has that screen right there.
Refresh, I don't know.
Yeah, I've done that too. It won't actually broadcast now. So iVlog is completely down. It won't come through. See?
Yeah.
They've got this tricked out so that they can't get a broadcast to us. Poof. Gone. So let me go back on iVlog over here and off of here. And this is the only way we're going to be able to do iVlog until we get a pro account. Now, we've been gifted pro accounts in the past.
And then I'm going to minimize this.
And then minimize that, yeah. There we go. So we're up and running now. I don't know what they're fixing, but the stream it's bad. For 10 hours now. For 10 hours, yeah. They've been having problems. So that's the story, folks. There was a terrible crash of a building in Japan, and we haven't even covered that story. Okay. The impeachment inquiry is going on as well. Fiona Hill is being interviewed during this period. That's incidental stuff. Apparently, there's a Japanese disaster. 33 dead, 19 missing, over 100 people after a typhoon rips into... See if this is the disaster. I thought there was a subway that crashed as well. A typhoon ripped through Japan. Ramped up rescue efforts on Sunday as a typhoon lashed Tokyo and other areas. They've been dispatched 27,000 members of the self-defense forces. Massive typhoon, look at this.
Whoa.
So Japan is under siege right now by weather conditions. Anyway, you can find out if you can make Scissor Fight a mod over there if you want to do something.
Well, first I want the Scissor Fight to tell me over at iVlog that indeed is the same Scissor Fight over at Twitch.
Yes.
And he can tell me that.
Yes, Scissor Fight. Are you the same Scissor Fight over there?
So he can type in iVlog chat, yes, Sarah, that is me. And I put one of those messages in Twitch because I've had people impersonate Scissor Fight before. I'm being DDoS. Shall I go off of iVlog and back on? Maybe. Okay, I'll be right back on Von Live People. Okay. You say they've killed themselves, the water will return to the beach. I know. I was showing you my shirt, and it was just a white shirt, and David didn't want you to see that I'm okay, that this shirt fits me well. I know, you're right. David does not actually take a break. He's always doing something. Maybe you should iVlog about it. They have a whole site to work on, so good evening. 493. Yeah, it's just a t-shirt. It's just a turtleneck, white turtleneck. Or actually off-white turtleneck. Okay. I have to admit, I did not do my homework and download the correct, all of the... I did not download Python or Python IDE to work on yet. In November, I think I'll have more time, and that will be my goal for November. Right now, I'm just trying to get through October, and I'm only halfway through. In 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, I'll feel like, in 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, I can breathe, and I'll just feel better. No, Voodoo, they don't, but to me, it's not a hoax, Voodoo, so I sometimes do talk about the climate issues, but there is, it was really interesting that ESE program director from OSPI, ESE, Environmental Science Educator Program Director, I think that's what ESE stands for, from OSPI Office of Schools, Student Office of, I think, Students of Public Instruction. Let me double check. Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction in Washington State. She said that really, should we be scaring kids? Or basically, we shouldn't expect children to solve all these heavy issues, or, put all this weight on the issues, because that's kind of what happened with Greta Thunberg is she just got overwhelmed with these big issues and big things, where I feel like what I'm doing, I help students work in the garden, that really helps kids and helps our environment. I don't like focusing on the problems, I like focusing on the future. I'm skipping too much, just come back in an hour. What do you mean I'm skipping too much? My cast is being disrupted. Drop frames, bit rate. Drop frames 0, drop frames 0, drop frames 0. You guys keep saying I'm dropping frames, but it's hard to see all that on live. Three. Okay. Anyway. I'm fine over at iVlog, just a little behind. My video keeps pausing. I apologize for that. I won't come back in, I will maybe come back in an hour, but really what I'll work on is the Python until then. But I do believe that climate change is real. Yes. I do believe that we should focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic. I don't like the whole idea of it saying 3 R's, because arithmetic starts with A, writing starts with a W. So maybe we should focus on raw. Reading, arithmetic, writing. No, sir, he doesn't. Sometimes, every once in a while, David will help me on the garden if it's a weekend. There is 3 billion less birds in America than when I grew up as a kid, but I was just outside yesterday and I was listening to all of the birds. It was very good. It was so cool. I was like, I can hear like 5 different species singing around us. Yes, 493, but I really felt like this climate scientist really explained it well when she talked about the ice cores. We do have a bird feeder in our backyard, and we are adding some at school. I love David. All right. Oh, I was going to get that. Yes, oh no. Oh, I scroll down. I don't want to shoot birds. Only chickens, maybe. No, what do I want to do? I want to go into bookmarks. Other bookmarks. Tech, and then I want to get Selenium. No, there was something else somebody gave me the other day, and I think I just put it somewhere else. Oh no. Good night. You're right. Well, something lost with me is humor. I'm not that funny. Somebody gave me something about coding a chat, and I think I lost it. But maybe I put it in my... notes. A couple, Voodoo. Yeah. Songbirds are endangered, being decimated by feral and outdoor pets. Yep. Oh, coding tips is what I wanted. Install Python. I want to do that Medium website. Not really. No, I don't play dodgeball. I take them out to, I don't play dodgeball with kids. I take them out to the garden sometimes. Why am I looking at that Charlie Chaikin art? I'll leave it open. I'm no longer being DDoSed. Okay, good. Do I play jump rope with the kids? No. Yes, I know it's kind of scary, but yes, because kids, no, it's not just my school. I think it's either, I don't know if it's a state issue or since 03 or a federal issue, but yes, school kids today can come to school even if they have lice. And something about, I don't even know if they send home, they don't no longer really send home a letter like a kid in your classroom might have lice or anything like that. Okay. All right. I didn't even know who that person was, a Charlie Chaikin and a beautiful face. Oh, wait, is she the, never mind. Is she the person in Mr. Robot? Elliot's sister. Okay, very good. Jump to the full code. Go to world, send message. Hello. Creating a chat app or any real-time web app used to be a hugely complex combination of AJAX, long polling, making regular HTTP requests to the server to get the most up-to-date information. Some sites still follow this approach. However, the introduction of the Socket.io library has transformed how we can approach building real-time web apps. Instead of long polling, the client and server maintain an open, persistent data connection, meaning both client and server can listen for event broadcasts and pass around data in response. Oh, shall I show you guys this? Probably. This is what I'm going to read tonight. It's about how to build your own chat app in under 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay. The internet is a series of tubes. Okay. Now suppose we want to build out a chat app. Previously, this would have required significant outlay. Now it can be achieved in under 40 lines of code. Create a simple node server. Var express require express. And here's where the magic begins. Using our socket object IO, we establish a listener for a connection from a client. The client opening the page in their browser. Callback function takes an argument, socket, which represents each of our specific clients respectively, so we can listen for events from that particular client on the socket argument. On the client side, then, we'll need to emit some event for the server to listen to. All our clients hear the event and append the new message. Huh. Why does David expect you to learn PHP or AJAX so you can build him a chat room that people will only use to ask to be unbanned on VonLive or iVlog? Well, David thinks that it will be used for other things. He thinks it will be like magically. I think David thinks if we build a chat that people won't just use it to ask to be unbanned on those, that they'll just magically start pouring in, because he's been censored. Oh, that's interesting. 493. You're so right. I mean, that's what happens to our Periscope show. Like, Top Rack Dooman is there, joined, and since Topak Dooman doesn't type anything, then David doesn't pay attention to it, and then I end up not paying attention to it because I don't have... You're right. I like your idea about building a chat that would incorporate all the different chat rooms, all the different locations that I chat in, into the chat, as well as a chat. But you're right. I mean, I think you're right. Whatever gets paid attention to will happen. But I think it would be good for me to build a chat, even if it does get ignored by us. Just to have the experience of building a chat. But I still don't feel confident with code, but maybe that's my issue. I should just dive in. This was 3 years ago. Project not found. So how do I know it will even like work? I think this is JavaScript because he talks about script source. It has to be JavaScript because it has the script source socket.io/socket.io.js. And well, he was saying earlier, like the language that he's writing in, I think, is JavaScript, but he was saying before, if you wanted to actually write a website chat, you would need Ajax long polling. But I wonder, what I want to really do is dive into, I mean, even 2000, this was written in 2015, and I think, you know, since then, HTML '5 has come out. Okay. I think I need a better, well, that's why I need to figure out, I think what I need to start with is a server and being able to run a server, because in the past I would build things in Ruby and then I wasn't able to actually deploy them. Not that I will deploy them anyway. I wasn't able to deploy them because I tried to deploy them on like a web server that we pay for space, and it was just not, it's not a good web server. Beans and cornbread. Oh my goodness, you just like to type. That's good. The old Yahoo Messenger code is somewhere online if you want a messenger. They did some pretty cool things. What are you saying? Knows I glow and I have a fake Microsoft background. You're talking about what's behind me? My green screen? Is that what you're talking about? What would you like behind me? Oh, fake. Oh, MS Mississippi background. Yes, I do have a Yankee accent because the majority of my life was spent in Southern California. So really, I mean, truly, I would be from Riverside. That's where my home was. I wasn't born in Riverside, though. I was born... But I moved there when I was in 4th grade, and that's why I have a Southern California accent. You wouldn't want to code something like this because you'd worry about IP leaks if I don't know how to avoid it while coding it. That's true. This is very cool, though. I do like it. The idea that... Okay, let me add it to my... Mississippi. I don't even know what you're talking about, glowy handler. What does that even mean? Maybe I don't need to know what that means. Maybe this is exactly what I need, Ajax chat. Okay.
All right, everything's out there. I fed the cat, and and there's food on the stove for you.
Oh, good. All right.
Thanks.
Let's see.
Nifty, yeah. Lots of fully customizable scripts that take for hours to figure. Yes.
I don't know what that means, no. Do you know what that means? Glowy? I don't know what that means.
No, we're not familiar with the word glowy. You want to look it up in an Urban Dictionary for us?
Yes, I'll go look it up.
No, I don't care.
Do I want to?
No.
Probably not, but
no,
will I?
Don't bother. You're welcome to enjoy your dinner now. An I'm good, glowy video. Okay.
An Icelandic singer?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we don't know what an Icelandic singer is.
Is it the Icelandic pop babe addressing body positively? Is that who you're talking about?
There's no dodging. I don't know what a glowy is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's move on. In fact, ban him based on the simple fact
I'm
he's
not going to
irrelevant.
ban people just based on things like that.
Well, it's irrelevant to tie up a show with discussing some word that no one else knows the meaning of. I mean, Go to a schizophrenic mental hospital and encounter people like that. They call that word salad. Yeah, a mental hospital for schizophrenics, I should say. Is that where you're broadcasting from, Voodoo? Are you a mental patient? How many of you are actually in a mental hospital right now? Press 1. Because some of you have the ability to chat in the mental hospital. Does the nurse allow you to chat? See, they can't even say 1, you know. You're in 3 mental hospitals? That's funny.
Everything I say repeats itself in audio. Let me see if this helps. Wait.
Over there?
Because, yeah, let me see if something helps. I think it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be doing that.
It should be
mute the channel itself, Periscope itself. Let's mute it.
this
No, right up there.
up here.
No, that shouldn't be muting. I mean, yeah, that should come through.
Oh, I'll mute this tab.
Now, if we mute the tab, I don't think we're even going to get to see a show, but let's see if anything audio comes in.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us now? Yes. I don't know what that means. I think. Oh, you know what I think it is? This is it. I think they think that glowing means that we're government officials in their minds. That somehow we're FBI or CIA or NSA, and we're not.
What?
We're just, yeah, that's what they say, that you're a state-owned operation. We're not. We're average people. We're trying to build this political movement. You're standing in the way. I wouldn't doubt that that's CIA telling us that we're glowing, telling other people in 4chan that we're glowing. That's how deep the disinformation campaign's going on. Yeah, you're completely... I wouldn't doubt you're CIA. Claiming that somehow I am not legit, which I am legit. I'm not blaming it on my foes. I just had no idea that people would, be using a word that only 4chan
that's the definition
users.
is a government.
There's no audio now, so let's kick it on. Just go ahead and unmute it. Yeah, there's something dual about that. There's something weird about it. It shouldn't have a double feed. Because we've got the audio on the main board turned off. See that? They're DDoSing again? Okay, we're having DDoS attacks from various elements within the 4chan network. Well, thank you, Sarah. You can go ahead and take a break. Enjoy your dinner. I turned it off, I believe, on the stove, so. Okay. Sound is back, but is it doubled sound? That's the question. We were testing a system alteration out. Is it double sound now? Yes, we want to know. I think a glowy is a person working for the government. That's what these people believe it. That's where it originated on 4chan. And I wouldn't doubt it originated from the government.
I just Googled it. I didn't look in the Urban Dictionary.
Well, now we know.
I got your Fellowship of the Minds and the 15 California governor signs 15 new gun laws. Oh.
That's a different definition than what I've been told. So this is about a really beautiful woman we have here next to us. Mostly seen with a lot of friends that are a friendly person. Yeah, there you go. She is so
Hazel
very pretty.
eyes.
So there were just, these guys were just making comments about how pretty you were looking.
Got it.
It wasn't some CIA plant thing. Okay, well, we don't know the definition of your words, so since the language is adapting, let's go ahead and kick on. We were DDoS just now by people that you think that aren't even bothering to censor us. Okay, thank you so much. Dinner is ready. There's a nice Angus burger with a little cheese on top and zucchini and some wontons. Enjoy. Yeah. I know he was trying to actually make a move on Sarah Misanthropy. I think you understand how that goes. Sarah's not available to anybody, but that's what these guys are doing in here. They see a woman online and they're like incels, involuntarily celibate people who've never had an experience in life, and that they come in and they automatically want to have a relationship with any woman they see. Why is today a sad day? Why are you sad, beans and cornbread? You're a boy transitioning his life as a girl decides to change his mind. Really? Okay. I hope that works out for you. 14 minutes of a guy who's decided he's not going to be a guy, he's not going to be a girl, he's going to go back to being a guy. Well, this transgender thing I don't cater to because it's a New World Order play. I will play it, though, in the evening, though. It's a propaganda tool that they're using to try to get us all not to replicate. So none of us have babies. Yeah, it's a great tool, don't you think? If everyone becomes a transgender, that nobody will ever have a baby. Just a theory. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody who's a transgender. We're still up and running. A refresh over at Vaughn. Not many civilians have died. Not many civilians have died. Yeah. That's a reality. The operation is going fairly smoothly. All the videos we've seen, like the ones ABC played, were fake videos. And we've got videos tonight in our show, but everything you've heard about Syria is a lie. So we'll be playing that video for you later tonight. You've been trying to give me a link? Well, give it to me again. Let me take a look here. Hang on. I've got it. While we're all distracted. Oh, I see your link. Got it. Hey, by the way, we're not making any money doing this. Just have to remind people of that. Competitors on the network are making money directly. We don't do that. Yeah, but if you're welcome to watch our show in real life over at Vaughn and at Twitch, yeah. We've opened up our Twitch show if you guys are wondering about it. Well, I've been doing this for 11 years for free, and people are paying millions of dollars, supposedly, to Mark to stop what we're doing. So that's the word on the street. Whether you believe it or not, it's really up to you. Well, if you're done with me, then you're done with Syria. Yeah, we're done with you too. I'm getting out of Syria. I'm so glad that Donald took my ideas and ran with them. I've never been happier. I mean, it's like a culmination of the anti-war rally combined with our Sustainable Saturday concept, and it's finally reached the point where we're getting out of Syria. Thank you, Donald. Yeah, in fact, this is the kind of offense I thought you were going to run 2 years ago. I'm glad you're doing it now. I was expecting Donald Trump to be much more aggressive with an offense. Giuliani's been pretty aggressive, so he's pushing really hard for information about Joe Biden and China. And I was watching Donald Trump's tweets today, and they were very coherent. He's got a good system down where he just keeps spiking the media really hard. And I thought that was a very effective campaign. He's running against Joe Biden, and now the Chinese connection, which we tipped him off about a week ago. I sent a message to Giuliani through a hashtag, and he ran with the story, and now Trump has got good defenses and good offenses. I don't want Trump to be railroaded out of the White House. Even though 17% of the population now wants him impeached, teetering it to 51% to 49% who love Trump, who don't want anything bad, you know. I still believe that Trump is, as long as he's implementing my policies, he's going to be effective, in my opinion. So I've come to the conclusion it's not my idea, it's our idea, all of our idea. We can get out of war in Syria. We can do it slowly, methodically, carefully, or we can do it abruptly like Donald Trump did. I was expecting a weapons-free safe zone in that region before he left, but hey, he didn't bother, so I want to see him impeached as well. I want to see a brand new leadership emerge in America, not the same old Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton leadership. I have a feeling Hillary's going to be entering the race rather quickly. We picked up a picture of her with her daughter, Chelsea. She's at the Eleanor Roosevelt event. Let me see if I can get a picture of it. I've got it in my picture collection on OneDrive. There it is. Screenshots. Yeah, here she was today. And her daughter was there, and she was so proud of her daughter, and she started to talk like she's planning on getting back in the race. The only problem is I don't know if this is really Hillary. Now here's her daughter receiving the award. And it was she's very proud of her daughter, but I'm looking at her face and I'm going, that's not the old woman that was collapsing with Parkinson's. You see how crisp and young she looks? Her body, her physique is fairly, her midriff is not that big. So I almost think that they're positioning her now as Hillary, and they're going to probably run her. She'll be out and about. She'll be doing her routine. No, I think she's going to be running for president. I don't believe Biden alone is. I think it'll only make the Democrats stronger if Hillary ran against Biden, and it'll push people like Beto O'Rourke out of the scene. No, that's a clone. Hillary's been cloned. I know it's hard for many of you to believe that cloning is possible, even though it's been done 20 years ago with a sheep. Bah. I know many of you are struggling with big ideas like that. Like, gee, do you think they could clone her? Yeah, I'm sure they've cloned her. In fact, we've got proof of it. Would you like to see the proof? Irrefutable proof? You don't care. Doesn't matter. Well, I don't think she'd lose twice in a row to Trump. Not after this major twist in the country. We didn't expect to lose trade with every country out there and expect to have a crisis at the border. Frankly, I don't think Hillary could have handled the crisis at the border any better than Donald's doing by taking my fence idea and using that. She could run as Biden's VP, yeah. Biden and she could run together. They're very close, I don't know if Biden's ever been to her spirit cooking meetings where they drink that blood and all that stuff, but what do I know? Biden seems like a guy, he's more into adrenochrome than blood, don't you think? He looks more like a guy who's had, numerous adrenochrome injections and brain surgery. And sure enough, he is a guy who's had brain surgery. ABC News has interviewed Hunter Biden. I don't have the clip right now because they haven't played it yet. But he looks pretty good for his age. He's 76 years old. Now, I'm a little younger than him, but I'm 59, so time gets, time is on your side. But I believe that we're going to be a better party because I look like him. And I will do everything I can to sound like him, too. If I can work on his voice, I'm still working on it. He has kind of a Delaware voice. Anyway, Joe Biden, I think, is looking pretty good for his age after the brain surgery and everything. Well, I don't know. I could be overexposed, too. You want me to add color? I could put orange on my skin. I look a lot like his family. I look a lot like his son, Beau, I think. If I had brown hair. His late son. Or I kind of look like Hunter, too. I hope his wife Beau's wife isn't too upset that Hunter's no longer with her. That's kind of a low blow when you date your late brother's wife, and then you dump her, Yeah, Ron Howard and I look identical, being we're almost the same age. Yeah, here's Ron Howard. He and I look a lot alike. Yeah, you can see the Opie look. Right? I know. But here he is. And he's an amazing guy. I really think Ron Howard is one of the better directors out there. He looks so much like me. He looks a lot younger than me, though. You can see it in, the way he just has that smile. His eyes are closer together, more like a beady rodent, you know? Kind of like a little beady rodent guy. My eyes are way apart. But I don't have the kind of money that he has. Because he's been doing a lot of Hollywood movies, and he found out the hard way how to kiss ass in Hollywood, didn't you? Didn't you, Ron? We all know about child actors in the 1960s. Anyway. Whew. Yeah, if only he had hair, I know. Yeah, he had to kiss everybody. Andy Griffith was just a tough guy on the set. And you know Aunt B didn't talk to anybody? Hey, you want to play for Conspiracy Monday Mayberry RFID? Where we all pretend to be chipped and act like Opie and Aunt B and Gomer? No. You had two browsers open. The guy who said he had double audio had two browsers open, Sarah. God, that's ridiculous. See, you should always check that. We actually troubleshot our system just to get you on the right track there, Guest 331. So far we don't have a lot of chatters over at Twitch's recovery show, Cool Rock Party. We've got the coolrock.com site. If you haven't seen that, that's pretty cool. It's a great place to hang out and just watch the show. Time is on your side. Yeah, but unfortunately iVlog is having a delay because we have a major problem with the board. iVlog, I'll show you, has made it so pro only. I have to be a pro in order to see my own stream key. So just to get on and broadcast now, I have to click on that. It tells me I have to pay $69.99 a year or a $9.99 a month, which I'm really hesitant to do because now they require it, and I don't like networks that require any fees, so I could easily drop iVlog, but I can also limp along doing this, where we take it right off the screen of another computer that is working and stick it up there. Yeah, so I'm not going to do it unless somebody gifts me a month of that. That's the only way it'll ever restore back to normal. That's just the way it is. We get so few donations as it is that I don't want to pay for network access. It's still, a little premature to do that as we head toward 2020. I could easily spend $75 a month on a much better stream with much more controls. It's HTML5. I won't give you the name, but it would be a lot easier, and I could spend $75 a month, not just $9.99 a month. Well, I'm not leaving iVlog. I'm just going to be limping along. Well, no, I'm going to stay on iVlog. I'm just going to limp along. I can barely even broadcast. This is an Indigenous Tribal Remembrance Day and Christopher Columbus Day as well. Remember the days when the Italian people were considered indigenous tribal groups? You weren't around in the early 1900s, were you? Well, it turns out that everybody always perceives everyone as a dangerous element in their society and thinks that they're bad. And a lot of groups, the Italians especially, have been prejudiced against, much like Native Americans throughout history. Irish were prejudiced against. Now look at Donald Trump's White House. It's practically all Irish mob members. We don't know that for sure. But it looks like that. There's Shanahan, Mulvaney. It just goes on and on. Anyway, the deal is, we are not here to hate on Muslims. My goal is not to turn against Muslims like Donald has done, but recognize that Muslims are here in America and have a place to pursue their religious freedom. Whereas Donald Trump doesn't quite get the religious freedom part. But I am concerned about Muslims coming into the country more than Donald Trump because he hasn't implemented any plans to stop these jihadists from having private encampments around the country. There's 24 of these encampments in our country. And this is not going away anytime soon. Donald has done nothing to deal with that. I'm a little concerned about that because you never know when a jihadist group of Muslims decide to arm themselves and take an attack on our country. I mean, you don't know. I'm still concerned about terrorism, even though I kind of side with the opposite belief that a lot of the terrorism has been made up. Bob Marley Rat Race. Okay, I'll play that later. Yeah, man. We do that, man. But the problem really is Muslims are coming to our country to drain on our services, and Donald Trump is not stopping the like there's mullahs in Dearborn, Michigan that have 5 wives and they collect 5 separate welfare checks, and they all go to the mullah, and he collects their checks, and he's I didn't think this was really happening until I actually drove through New Jersey last summer and ran into a rest stop, and it was completely Muslim. I mean, Sarah and I were the only Caucasian people in the rest area on, I think it was I-95 in New Jersey. It was weird. And that's probably the case right now, too. There's places in New Jersey and New York where the Muslims enclaves have become so strong that they can literally take over areas. And they've done so in that area. No one's really addressing this issue. As I went to the restroom, I saw an older man who was a mullah who didn't look like he could speak any English, who was catered to by 3 of his slaves, and there were 2 underage wives that were standing next to him, teenagers, like 15 years old. And he commanded this large group of people, and they were holding his towel for him in the bathroom and everything. It was kind of weird. So I'm concerned that Trump isn't addressing the Sharia law being exerted in that area, and allowing these people to collect 5 welfare checks is crazy. So we have to get on to that. We also have to prosecute Ilhan Omar for marrying her brother, who is a homosexual. Nothing wrong with marrying a homosexual, I suppose, if you're a woman. Marrying your brother is absolutely forbidden, and you can't get immigration status as a U.S. citizen doing that. She got her brother to become a U.S. citizen by marrying him. And there's more and more evidence of this, yet Trump hasn't mentioned it once. Isn't that weird? And now Trump is starting to get soft on gun laws and all these things. So all of that kind of makes you wonder, is Donald Trump just following my lead to help Vladimir Putin out? Because he doesn't do all the things that I want to do. I mean, putting up the fence is great. I'm glad he's working on the fence. It's a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. I'm also glad that he's working on getting out of Syria. Great idea I came up with. I thought it was awesome. But the bottom line is he may be just doing all of this for Vladimir Putin. So we don't really know what's happening with him. Well, the thing is, the population they're engaging in Sharia law, we need to give them an 800 number and make it like 1-800-REPORT-SHARIA. And you can have a group of phone service people answering the phone, taking down information. If we could get 3 leads on a woman who's forced to marry her rapist, we could go in with federal injunctions and go in and stop this family from forcing their child into a forced marriage with her rapist. Yeah, because a lot of the Muslim families force their children to marry their rapist. They marry their first cousins. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. It's how they keep the money in the family, and it's why they're all nuts. There you go. You got your take on it. So I'm glad I picked a subject that you guys can talk about, Muslims, and the conspiracy really of Donald Trump as a kind of a temporary stopgap. He's not doing anything really to prosecute anyone. He's just kind of a stopgap in time as they continue to push over 1 million people into our country now per year. And they could be Mexicans, they could be other than Mexicans. They could even be Muslims coming through other countries into Mexico as a conduit. Yeah. Now, the idea I came up with about putting alligators and snakes in the moat, the moat idea was Meow's. He's no longer in the show. He doesn't hang out here anymore. But the alligators and snakes came from me, and I was the one that suggested this. Donald Trump has been talking about it too, and he's also talking about shooting people and they're, maiming them as they get away from the Border Patrol agents. That's not my idea. So you're forced into relationships with life rapists. Is that the problem? Is it because you meet people on the internet or what? Let's see if I can make any. See if I can alter the mod status here. It's funny, I have users in chat. It's weird, I don't have Scissor Fight over there, so I can't really mod him. Huh. I guess you're not over there now. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Lady cashier knocks out drunk bully in store. Really? Okay, here we go. Wow. She ought to consider a boxing career. That's a really good hit. Did you see that? Square on the jaw. So you see Scissor Fight's name in there, but mine doesn't show that. That's interesting. Let me refresh. And chat was paused due to scroll. Okay. Do you watch porn? Well, are you admitting that you're a porn watcher, Beans? Some of you are using this as kind of like a confessional. You know, I'm not a priest. I know I look like a priest, but I'm not. You have a story for later when you're going to talk to yourself about it? Yeah, well, sometimes you should hold back the stories you're going to talk to yourself about later. For later. Yeah. Or you're going to mention it to us. Good. That's good. Well, there you have it. Let's take a look and see if I can get who's in the chat now. Yeah, he doesn't pop up. That's weird. That's so strange. Very interesting. Okay, we'll just kind of we're just feeling out the Twitch program and seeing what's going on. The stream is okay, yeah. We have a big delay over at iVlog though because they've changed everything. I have to broadcast off of a laptop. In Periscope, I got 4 people over there. I see you guys. Yo, Sarah, William, hey man. Baby girl green eyes is in. You know, I could even be the Pope. Yeah, I think so. We've had people from the Papal Ministry come in here and say, David, the Pope would like to invite you and Sarah to the Vatican. And of course, Sarah thinks that they're trolling us. So, but I think I could see taking an ocean liner to Italy. I mean, I don't have a problem riding in an ocean liner. It's less sabotageable. And I could always carry a blow-up boat with me, you know. So maybe a 6-month cruise to the Vatican. Sarah and I could take an maybe a summer cruise to the Vatican. That would be nice. I have a problem with reaching out to the Vatican because they've got that snake building. I don't understand why they would put a snake building, the newest building they built, inside the Pope's reptilian Papal Ministry. They created this interior which looks just like the head of a snake with the fangs. Yeah. I mean, you can see it more realistically here. Looks just like the head of a snake. And then the building itself looks like the head of a snake right here. Now it's getting really weird. This is something he has in the back that looks like demons. But look at the building. This is a conspiracy theory, so bear with me. The building looks just like a snake too. So I'd have a hard time understanding why the Vatican is siding with snakes. I don't know of any Catholic text that would reference snakes and reptilians. I was reading the Catholic Missal and they didn't mention anything about reptilians or snakes. So what's going on with the Vatican and their snake obsession? So I'd have a hard time going there and hanging out with the snake worshippers. Something very weird about that. You know, Greta didn't invite anybody back on the yacht. I'm sure that Richard Branson would have loved to travel with her on the back. You know, he was on his island and he asked children to stay over with him. You think, Ivan? Ivan says, David, maybe they're just evil. You think? Yeah, I know. That's why I wouldn't go over there. That's my point. Anybody who'd have an evil building like that, and I'm a former Catholic, as you know. I was baptized a Catholic. Just like Barack Obama was baptized a Muslim, I was baptized a Catholic. So in the Catholic Church, they see me. Yeah, why don't they move the Vatican to Epstein Island? Happy Hour says. That's hilarious. Yeah, why not? Sure, Epstein Island would be a perfect place to hang out for. Well, what do they have on Epstein Island? Well, you name it. They've got underground bunkers. They've got secret there's secret places under there. I was surprised they didn't send the cadaver dogs out to Epstein Island to see if there were any, dead recruiters out there. There were a couple solid players there that we have proof that Epstein's alive, so might as well just bring that out. And it's a big news item since recent times. I don't see how anyone could think that this guy is dead when his photograph clearly does not match the picture of the decedent. Now, we've shown you this before, but it's a simple fix here to realize, yeah, he was replaced. Somebody came in there with the body of somebody who looked kind of Jewish, I guess. But the guy who died had a hooked nose, he had a higher cheekbone, and a bruise on the cheekbone, which implies he didn't commit suicide. That alone rules out the suicide, the bruise on the cheekbone. And then, of course, bruise on the ear, and different ear entirely. I mean, it's not the same ear. So it's not Epstein that died. And I would go with Labor Secretary Acosta's statement that he gave him a soft sentence in 2007 because he's intelligence. He's part of the intelligence network. So more than likely, Epstein is a Mossad intelligence agent who gathers dirt on politicians that they can use against our country. I wouldn't doubt there's quite a few people in government right now that have secret video files of them with 15-year-old girls or boys that were filmed visiting Jeffrey on a trip. I would not doubt that at all. Maybe enough to even get a quorum of people to vote one way or the other. Now, if there were a lot of people like Dennis Hastert who got caught with his having raped 4 boys when he's a wrestling coach, even Dennis Hastert only served 13 months in jail for butt raping 4 boys when he was a high school wrestling coach. Former Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, he's out now. He visits his friend Tony Podesta. They grew up together. They were in Boy Scouts together. They knew each other as kids. So that's how Dennis Hastert and his pedophile ring connects to Tony, and then on to John Podesta, allegations that he's involved in Pizzagate. And then we open the door on the Pizzagate discovery. And that's been suppressed by the media for the past 3 or 4 years too. So when you talk about conspiracies, you really have to look at how hard these people are trying to stop us from finding out more. And Pizzagate's top of the list. Controlling the governments of other nations by world leaders is also at the top of the list. Depopulation is at the top of the list. This is what they're trying to do. And they're trying to make it so that you don't think they're trying to do it. They actually have you thinking, average people, thinking that we should depopulate. We're the only species in the world that wants to get rid of itself. There's no, unless I don't speak roach, but I'm sure if I was a roach, I'd probably have my feelers out going, oh, you're a weirdo. You want to get rid of roaches. I'm not a roach, though. Yeah, chemtrails can make your eyes hurt. It can lower your immune system. And these chemicals that these people are spraying are part of the depopulation plan. Chemies in the sky. Doo, 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 doo. Hey, it could be an electrical malfunction in the Saddle Bridge fire. Yeah, sure. I bet it's more like the directed energy weapon that sparked it. SoCal Edison alerts state regulators of impact at start of the Saddle Ridge fire. Oh. Yeah. I bet if you had a camera over there, you'd probably see a directed energy weapon starting this fire. Somebody had a clip of the air above California. The air, all the satellite photos of the Doppler pictures, and they actually showed the fires that started recently at Saddle Ridge and others. They showed them starting simultaneously. It's like boom, 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 all in different areas. Nobody's running around there with an electrical starting thing or cigarette dropping. It's got to be some other method they're using to start these fires. That's why I think that there's very little investigations, arson investigations going on in the California fires. Paradise, Woolsey. The possibility of them using a directed energy weapon is very real. Well, make no mistake about it. Energy is extremely toxic, especially when in concentrated forms. These are both directed energy weapons. Yeah, these are the kind of weapons that we're seeing. These are actual photographs of the Woolsey fires being started with directed energy weapons. The government won't acknowledge this. They won't even acknowledge these things exist. You only pull these up off of the internet. You think roaches will outlast human beings? Well, the fact that roaches want to replicate and humans don't would automatically make me think that roaches will outsurvive us. They don't have the mindset of wanting to destroy themselves. We've allowed our world to talk itself into no longer replicating. See, the wealthiest people in the world don't want to get rid of the pollution that they themselves created to become wealthy. They'd rather blame you. And they ran a study through a computer system, and the computer, the AI system, spit out a very simple reality that human beings, if we're currently on the same trajectory we're on, will destroy the Earth's biosphere within a matter of 15 to 20 years at the current rate we're on. But they didn't put in the factors that we are cleaning up the environment. We're recycling 10% of our waste. They didn't put in factors like we could filter all our rivers that go into the ocean, plastic points that could stop. We could clean the waterways that we have. They didn't factor that in at all. They didn't factor in the fact that they're spraying chemtrails in the air recklessly without any concern for the outcome. They didn't factor in anything that would fix the entire environment. So AI got a bad picture, an incomplete picture. Yet the elitists received the information from AI and took it as the portent of the end. The final days are coming, and they want to get rid of the population because they think that people are the result or the cause of this terrible pollution, without even thinking that they could clean it up or filter it or anything. So they've made all their assumptions based on what we have done, which is bad. That's why poor Greta is so frustrated that she can't possibly, function. So I feel bad for her, but, I have empathy for Greta. I'm not here to make fun of her, but I'm more concerned about the poor family of this couple, this woman that was just taking care of her. Yeah, the terrible police shooting of a Texas woman, black woman, in her home playing video games with her nephew. She's dead. Tatiana Jefferson is killed, and the guy just walked up to her window thinking she was breaking in and said, "Put your hands up," without even saying he's a police officer. Put your hands up, and she had 2 seconds to respond. He just blew her away. Put a bullet in her head. Right through the window outside of her home. I can't even believe such a mindless act by a cop, and he immediately resigned from the police farce. But that doesn't cut it. The man needs to be prosecuted for murder and sent to jail for the highest level of crimes murder can be. I mean, he wasn't doing a job. He was responding to a call from a neighbor saying something weird was going on in their house. Her grandmother was in the hospital. They were getting her things. They were in there taking care of the nephew. Bill de Blasio's booed. He was called Big Bird during Columbus Day Parade. Really? Leave it to New York to tell the truth, you know? Nobody likes the fact that de Blasio is cutting out hot dogs out of the mess halls. And no doubt he was booed, yeah. He got rid of hot dogs. That's like sacrosanct. You can't do that. I know Sarah doesn't like hot dogs, but hot dogs are a staple in our prisons, and now prisoners can't get hot dogs. You learn a lot about different voices. Yes, Arcady. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go as Snoop Doggy Dogg or Hillary Clinton or... Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to be on Halloween. It's getting close, isn't it? I better make a decision. I was thinking of going as Greta Thunberg. Well, I look a lot like her, you know. My physical face, it matches hers. It's difficult for me to go as a 16-year-old girl, but, you know, I can't see any reason why not. You see how close I resemble her? Isn't that amazing? I look exactly like her. Of course, I'm not a 16-year-old girl, but I'm much older, of course. But I'm thinking a little plastic on my face, and maybe some of those maybe you go on that vegan diet where you look like you're an old man at a young age. But I have that same seriousness about me, and how dare you? How dare you talk to anyone like this? How dare you defame Greta, David? How dare you? You're not allowed to say these things. So I might go as her. I don't know. She's a bot. You think she's a robot? That would be a real strange twist, wouldn't it, if she was a robot? The UK just got more power from renewables than fossil fuels, a first since 1882. The UK is working desperately to transfer to renewable energy, and I give them all the credit in the world. In the third quarter of 2019, the UK's wind farms, solar panels, biomass and hydro plants generated more electricity than the combined output from power stations fired by coal, oil and gas, carbon, brief analysis revealed. I wonder what the nuclear component was. Yeah, it doesn't exist. People don't like to talk about nuclear because it's the cleanest form of fuel or form of energy, but it certainly creates a lot of nasty byproducts, doesn't it? Well, let's be clear. You think Cyberbot be here next year and we might see them, yeah. No, not a 13-year-old. The girl is 16 years old. I'm not impersonating a young person. Not at all. How dare they? Yeah, Milrose, what's wrong with you? Are you unable to listen to the news and hear she's 16 years old? Yeah, I mean, most of us are top on our list of news awareness levels. I mean, I think most of the people here are probably tuned into the news more than most people. You, however, you're a little out of it. Yeah, do you ever read? You said you read 1,000 books. What? Is that the name of a book? 1,000 books? Can you do the guy from the Playboy Mansion? What? Jack Nicholson? Jack Nicholson has an underground stairway to the Playboy Mansion. And wasn't the Playboy Mansion sold? I believe it was. El Decor in 2018. Yeah, so this passageway leading to the Jack Nicholson apartment is probably blocked off. But Jack positioned himself very close to the mansion. And that's how you can't handle the truth. Look at that beautiful mansion. Per the agreement with the new owner in the city of LA, the Playboy Mansion will not be destroyed, but instead restored to its former glamour despite not receiving landmark status. Darren Metropolis, the mansion's owner and heir to the Hostess fortune, the man who created Hostess Twinkies, signed a permanent protection covenant with the council member, Paul Koretz, not to tear down the mansion and restore it to its original status. So yeah, the owner, the heir of the Hostess Twinkie fortune, Metropolis, Darren Metropolis, is now the owner. Good to know. I bet the women aren't living there anymore. Please don't ask for that, Milrose. Yeah, that happened earlier in the show. You missed out. Yeah, Twinkies for the win. Right on. He made a lot of money on products that could barely ever break down and will last years and years and years on the shelf. Well, I'm a very stable geniuser. I'm more geniuser than Donald because I'm a more stabler geniuser. On a scale from 1 to geniuser, I'm a smarter geniuser guy, more stable. But Donald is very stable genius too. Well, let's be clear. You know, notice no one sees Obama now that he's working for Iran. I find that funny. He's doing consulting for Iran on how to deal with U.S. foreign policy. Doesn't that kind of make it all seem real that he and John Kerry conspired to rig that $155 billion in cash and credit? Well, let's be clear. I never did like Obama. I felt he was two-faced. That's why I did the blackface video, of course, making fun of him. I almost believe that he killed that young woman or ordered her dead, Miriam Carey. Remember this?
Was a second person that was inside that black Infinity with that woman. That person, we are being told, is now in police custody.
So you can see there was a second person in that vehicle with that woman. There was a man driving it. The woman was there with her baby, Miriam Carey. But according to police reports, there was no man there. And about a minute later, after this video was filmed, Miriam Carey was shot 5 times in the back of her head. She claimed that she had his baby, and that she was trying to get a hold of him. She never did anything bad to the president. And according to the District Court of Appeals, they overturned the case, saying Secret Service was totally justified in blowing her away, even though she wasn't armed, and she was shot 5 times in the back of the head. And there was no mention of a guy sitting there. And clearly there's a guy sitting there in the picture. You can see their head. So there's 2 people in that image. Anyway, that was a story that kind of got lost. Conspiracy theory is that Barack Obama really was the father of her godchild, and that he ordered the death of this woman, Miriam Carey. 9 years later, we still don't even know what happened. Amazing, huh? Okay, Sarah, we're back up and running. We're doing the delayed broadcast, ironically, limping along. I hope that iVlog fixes their situation. I'll be monitoring it tonight. We'll be playing a little Bob Marley later in the show. Milrose, please don't talk about that. It's a sidetrack. We already did that in the pre-show. You have to get in here earlier. Yeah, don't bring this up all the time. It's just terrible. Okay, thank you, Sarah. You were able to eat something?
Yes.
Okay, good.
They had a little amazing eggnog as the
dessert. An aperitif, good.
Organic eggnog, so pure, and it's pretty cool because we met the dairy actual farmers at one point. Food is God. Wow. Hello, Arcady. I am well. I'm doing well. How are you? Oh. Yeah. Maybe I need to have more vitamins. And sleep. Maybe David needs more sleep. I've been getting up early to go to work, and then David's been getting up because I've been getting up. Actually, he's trained the cat to wake him up because she wants to get fed in the morning and I forget to feed her in the morning. Anyway, you had your cold, you're taking some onions and garlic to knock it out. Another thing that I would definitely recommend, Arcady, if on top of your onions and garlic, is ginger. When I have a bad cold, I have this, it's called uncrystallized ginger, and I get it at Trader Joe's. I love that. Whoa, that is so cool, Miss Anthropy. A Florida man paid off lunch debts for every child in 9 schools. That is awesome. $944.34. That was the outstanding lunch debt in all 9 Jupiter area schools. One local man says, "That's a small price to pay to make a big difference in the life of a child." He said, "I went in there and I said, I want to pay off the lunch debt." He learned that over 400 kids in his community couldn't get a full meal in their school cafeterias. The children were in debt were going to either not eat or they would just get cheese sandwiches. And he thought, that's crazy. What a cool story. Thank you for sharing some positive things. I find that positive. He had no agenda, no children in the district, no personal connection to the schools, but he knew he knew he could make a difference, so he made it happen. What a cool story. I don't think a cheese sandwich is bad. It's just, I don't know. All right. Food is something you shouldn't have to think about. Children shouldn't have to learn hungry. He said after he paid the bills, he posted about it on Facebook. Hundreds of people commented asking if they can contribute next time too. Wow, that's cool. Even had some clients over the past 48 hours say, you know something, I want to help, I want to give too. Every quarter they're going to do either a GoFundMe or a fundraising page that can raise money so lunch debt never accumulates. Wow, that is very cool. Yeah, you always ate the grilled cheese sandwiches at school and they're like $1.50. Well, that's what he said. It was... Oh, I did say only, didn't I? $944.34. For some people... Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You know, it is relative. Why don't I do that? You know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll find out how much it is in my district. I don't know if it's $944 in my district, though. Give David the money and tell him to do that so he can advertise his campaign. Yeah. Post about it on Facebook. Yeah. Well, yeah, if he wanted to do that, he probably would need the money, Daryl. But, yeah. Over 400 kids in his community. So you take the $944 divided by 400 kids. They couldn't eat because of $2.50 a kid. Would the media censor it if he did it? No. Would they run a story on that? Maybe. Maybe they would. I don't know. They do tend to just censor by not running stories on things. That was a Fox News story. I wonder if the debt in like our school, well, the thing is that our school district already, the kids are not going hungry even if there is a debt. I did not see the clip earlier of ABC lying to try to get us to go to war. Yo, Glazy, what's up? Streamable.com P9 nod.
This video right
Well,
here
you're in our
shows
stream.
Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought
You're in the
alongside
stream like
US
3 years
against
ago,
ISIS.
and you're back.
Now, horrific
Awesome,
reports
welcome
of
back.
atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies. This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military.
Wait. What does it really show? You say it's fake news streamable. The real clip came from a gun range where they were doing a machine gun event where they blow things up. Wow. And they just added their own commentary to it. Wow. Unreal. Yeah. They do these big, yeah, that's crazy. Did David play that earlier? Yeah. Thanks for liking my show. Sorry, I was yawning. All right, Glazy's back over on, I think he's going to hang out with us over on Twitch. By the way, Glazy, if you see me responding to people and you're like, who are you talking to, Sarah? I'm also streaming on Vaughn Live, vaughnlive.tv/thirdparty, and iVlog, ivlog.tv/America's Third Party, and of course, here on Twitch, twitch.tv/.
But you were liking the three. Yeah, we were here back in 2014. I started the stream in 2011, according to the Twitch stream information, but we started broadcasting in 2014, and we did like 7 months, and I got, or no, 3 months, and I got 7,500 viewers. And I was gaming, and I was having a great time, and then Capital Gain banned me from the show. And then since then, they've changed their terms of service, so it didn't include the bannable offense that they claimed that I did, which I didn't. Really? You know, I try to avoid going to concerts. It's just so expensive, you know, $50 to $200 for a concert. It just, why, you know, and then the traveling expenses and the hotel and the 24 packs of beer and the barbecue in the back of your lift gate. And, you know, is it really worth it? Not that I ever did that, but you never know. Okay, we're going to do some link cleanup here. Some of you have been hanging out just wondering what the show is about. We digest links, and we just showed you something earlier from CBS News about a link that I could care less about. High school in California will have mandated start times aimed at helping sleepy teens. Doesn't really affect me, so I'm not going to keep it in my library. Various VPNs we were looking at. This story about a California governor signs 15 new gun control bills, including America's worst red flag law. Newsom is turning out to be the New World Order governor. Well, isn't that super special? Of course I do the church lady. We can do that. Bill, he lives down the street from me. I don't meet him very often, though. In fact, I've never met him. Dana Carvey. I think he's the bad guy that hangs out at the corner. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, the Governor Newsom is a complete shill for the hierarchy of the New World Order. He's one of the old families of California, and they're all connected to the Rothschilds. So they're pushing gun control like it was no tomorrow. And California is the perfect state to test it on because most of the people are so mush-brained, they're like libtards. Well, I don't know. Well, if people don't have any guns, then it'll be safe, right? You know. You got a YouTube video, The Minds of Men? Okay. I'll check it out. Thank you. Something's not right here in River City. 3 hours and 42 minutes, The Minds of Men. Wow. It's going to be a True Stream Media event. Man, that's huge. 2 million views. I'll add it to the list. I guess it'll fill up my hours if I do play it. Thank you. I'd like to know more about it. Why wouldn't I? So that's a story I don't really care about. Gavin Newsom and anti-gun control. But this is pretty bad. Japan, but it's not something that, it's changing. 33 dead, 19 missing. They say it's going to be over 50 dead from over 100 injured after the typhoon ripped through Japan. They tried to rescue about 360 people who were stranded after an embankment of the Chikuma River collapsed, with the land ministry warning of the possibility of floodwaters up to 5 meters deep. We're talking 15 feet in floodwater. As the collapse was confirmed by around 3 p.m. and many were asleep at the time, the death toll could increase. 10 rows of bullet trains parked at East Japan Railway Company Railroad near Nagano Station. Countless facilities and houses in the city and elsewhere were inundated by muddy water. Look at that. Wow. Unbelievable. And of course the big news story was the Fort Worth shooting of an innocent woman. The guy resigned, but he still should be charged with homicide. Fiona Hill testified about Trump's decision to oust ambassador to Ukraine. Really? Yeah, he ousted the ambassador to Ukraine. I thought the ambassador to Ukraine resigned. She testified that Bolton called Giuliani a hand grenade. Bolton also referred to Giuliani's Ukraine operation as a drug deal. Whoa, really? Wow. Well, this is interesting. John Bolton's removal and his aide testifying on Ukraine. It is very relevant. I only wish I had, was able to really be in the Beltway and really care. But who cares? A Florida man has paid off lunch debts for every child in 9 schools. Can you imagine the kids not being able to get their meal because there's a lunch debt? Our government should have something in place as a safety net to cover the cost of anybody who's not getting their lunch paid for. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, nothing really to speak of. Still, Nancy Pelosi is now working with Lindsey Graham, though, to stop Trump's efforts in pulling out of Syria. So Lindsey Graham's now moving over to Nancy Pelosi's camp. It doesn't bode well for Donald in the impeachment process because more Republicans are going to not like him because a lot of Republicans were hell-bent on staying in Syria. Even though I like the idea of getting out of Syria And I think Trump's doing the right thing to get out of Syria. I just don't think that the Democrat and Republican brass really like it, and it's going to lead to impeachment, possibly. Okay, and that story's done. Don't know what that is. Mark Zuckerberg has been holding off the record dinners with influential conservatives, including Tucker Carlson and Lindsey Graham. Really? He's been holding off the record dinners. So he's secretly controlling key people in the media. Unbelievable. Mark Zuckerberg playing the Rothschild card. They say there's a conspiracy that says that Mark Zuckerberg is the grandson of David Rockefeller. And the more you look at him, the more you think, yeah, I can see there's a definite thing going on. Well, he looks like one of the Habsburgs, too. I mean, look at that. Tell me that's not weird. Yeah, very famous Habsburg. But then you got the Zuckerberg connection to David Rockefeller. This image of a young man who was arrested, who is the grandson of David Rockefeller, the late David Rockefeller, was arrested and disappeared and never has been seen again. And his name was Jacob Greenberg, right? And the story of Zuckerberg didn't even exist on the internet until about a year ago. They've implanted a whole history of the Zuckerberg family dating back to the 1890s, which didn't exist a couple of years ago. Kind of funny, huh? Jacob Michael Greenberg, it looks just like him. You see the connections, the facial distance between the eyes, the nose, and the chin are absolutely identical. So I got wind of the fact that Mark Zuckerberg is probably ultra wealthy and was just put in power, installed in power. I got wind of it when he offered WhatsApp's $19 billion and gave these guys, who just wrote a couple pages of code, really, gave these guys all of this money, $19 billion. And the nearest bidder was Google at $10 billion. $19 billion to a guy that was worth $30 billion at the time. It just doesn't make any sense. And there were 5 competitors, too, for that WhatsApp program. So none of those decisions sound like they're very well planned out or backed by any solid moves. He seems to be all over the place. He wants to have the cover of being a public company, claiming that we all assume we're not private when we go on there. We have no privacy protection, he said. He claims to be a company that's public, but then again he says, he makes money, and then he says he's a private company who can discriminate and censor anybody who comes in there. So he's looking at it both ways, which is illegal. You can't call yourself a public company and a private company at the same time. He could never afford Cool Rock. I would never sell it. And the Habsburgs were all inbred. Good point. So the possibility that Mark Zuckerberg really is a Rothschild or a Rockefeller is very, very strong. So, of course, he's courting. That's exactly what the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds would want to do. They all work together. Would I sell it for $1 billion? Of course, people have offered me lots of money to drop out of the race. And I'm not going to say whether I would or not in the future, because Cool Rock is really just, it's not for profit. I'm just here for social purposes. So I have no intent to profit from it. It's possible it could be profitable someday, but not from revenue collected off of your privacy. And that's what I don't do. I don't harvest cookies on Cool Rock. And we're not using programs that are costly, so we can offer you all these different choices, like a piano, a drum machine. If you check out the thank you. You got world clocks. That's kind of a cool button we just added. Earth clock. The CO2 emissions currently being consumed or produced, rather. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, we've got lots of things in here that you can play with. and have fun with. Yeah, like I want to look at a rotating plant on the screen. Gee, Dave, what did you do last night? Well, I looked at my plant and I changed the colors and I made it brighter and different colors and backgrounds. And it's pretty boring, yeah. But it's something else to do. And I always wanted a site that you could actually go to that you could have fun with. It's over bright now, dude. All right, thank you, everyone. And we have a news story down at the bottom. All sides gives you the news. President Trump plans executive order sanctions on Turkish government. And I applauded that, by the way. I tweeted, good job, Donald. I really am glad that he's following up on his words. So Donald isn't totally, pissing me off like the Democrats really hate Donald. I'm not that upset at it right now. As long as he's, truly, just following my ideas, but I have a feeling he's working for Vladimir Putin. That's the only problem. That's my big concern. Because getting out of Syria was all about Putin. Yeah, so what do you have there? Got a tiny URL, huh? Okay. Let's hope we can do this. We've been trolled by a few people in the past, so we don't know. You never know what you're going to get with a tiny URL. Oh, yes. The Habsburg jaw and other royal inbreeding deformities. Thank you. I didn't even realize this existed. This is the owlcation.com site. It's people in the owl world of the Illuminati. The funerary mask of King Tutankhamun, Egypt's boy king, known as King Tut. He was frail and very young when he died. His parents were also brother and sister. The long-term effects of incest and inbreeding. Low birth rate, higher infant mortality, congenital effects. Ah, yes, the Habsburgs, yes. Truly, I see the resemblance between them and Mr. Zuckerberg, or whatever that means. Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, so I think we're onto something here. This is a conspiracy theory that's gaining ground right now. The Habsburg jaw. That's the Habsburg jaw. And they had royal hemophiliacs in their group too. Wow. The elongated skulls of the Tutankhamun. Interesting. Huh. Yes. I just don't know what's going on here. I mean, I've never met anybody with a skull like that, except there were a few people in the Zulu tribe that deform their skulls to make them look longer. But that's an African tribe. Very interesting, yeah. I don't know what to think of that. Strange alien origins, or were they just abnormalities and deformities? Question. Okay, back at you. Yeah, Trump is basically Putin's bitch. Well put. You win an award for that. Guess 493. We should have like a chat award for people that come up with really poignant chats. Researchers say sex robots should have consent modules. So technically you're going to be able to rape a robot? And they'll be charging you with raping a robot? Really? Midham, the first raped robot. He was life raped. Well, look at this. Sex robots should have consent modules. University researchers from institutions around the globe are working together to design ethical sex robots that have to consent before engaging in intercourse. The consent module is added to the sex robots that humans would engage with before sexual relations. The Virtue Ethics Group are working diligently on this. I'm a little bit concerned because there's so many people that don't want to ask a robot for sex for permission. You know, it's like, I'm beginning to think you'll be able to rape a robot and be charged with a crime, Stormy. If the Democrats get their way, everything will be a crime. Vaping, smoking, drinking, driving, flying. Pretty soon, everything will be a crime. Yeah. Scroll quickly through this list of major data breaches in 2019. Wow. Like I really want to know more. Hey, A Trip to Mars, how are you? The worst so far. Okay, let's take a look. Data breach. Identity Force. I hope this isn't breaching my data. 2016's largest data breaches. And the year of Equifax, 2017, they had a big data breach in Equifax. And the worst so far, wow. The town of Salem video game. The information of 7.6 million gamers was stolen in the hack of the town of Salem. Wow, those witches are out in mass, and they're traveling the internet now, the witches are. DiscountMugs.com had a little thing. Benefit Mall had a problem. OXO, if you these are familiar to you, you may want to address them individually. Managed Health Services of Indiana, Fortnite. You know, this is like a 50-mile long list. I'm not going to spend more than 2 seconds on this. It'd take me hours to go through this. Wow. Okay. I'm still working my way through the media nightmare. We had something that came in the show earlier that shocked us. Some Field McConnell, his name is, says Obama was executed on August 29th, 2019. This is I think the QAnon group gone wild. I'm not sure don't take this seriously, please.
It's been reported that on September 29th, Obama was executed by a Marine Corps firing squad. Now that's the same day that Dunford got to Gitmo. And Dunford's responsibility at Gitmo is to oversee all the activities of the military tribunals.
And that's as much as we have. That was like a 153 News post. It's like, I don't believe that. I don't think they executed him on September 29th. No. Do we have a current photo of Barack Obama? Well, let's be clear. My gosh, September 29th was the last time anything was posted. Huh. No kidding. That's a little weird. Yeah. See how conspiracy theories are born? Well, let's be clear. Barack Obama is going to appear in the media. He hasn't had a picture since September 29th. So if that man's allegation is they executed him, God forbid, because I like people, and I don't want to see them executed. I don't want anything bad to happen to a former president, that's for sure. Yeah, but isn't that interesting how these things fly on the internet and people just run with them? I don't believe this. Until we see a recent picture, though, I'll need confirmation. I don't know. It's just, that came out of nowhere today. Scissorfight brought it in, and I just didn't know what to think. Let's just go, you were looking at scrolling then. Okay, yeah, here we go. Here comes the scroll. Here comes the scroll. All these places have completely removed or have lost data, subscriber numbers in millions of lists. I know you can't see them. It's ridiculous. Look at all these data breaches. This is way too many. WhatsApp. Yeah, so Facebook is facing another data privacy breach scandal after WhatsApp's as data has been breached. The messaging app, which has over 1.5 billion users worldwide, experienced a security flaw that left people vulnerable to spyware designed by the NSO Group, an Israeli government surveillance agency. Those affected would have been able to be spied on through their homes, their phones, microphone, and camera. WhatsApp messages and connected apps. So it would see you in the bathroom, going to the bathroom with your camera sitting next to you. They'd be watching you. Yeah. No privacy whatsoever. No, I'm skeptical in almost every instance. I'm very rare to accept conspiracy theories. You know me, I've reluctantly entered this realm, having to talk to this person that came in all the time, bringing up these ridiculous statements. We started our show called Mount Monday. And this guy, William Mount, who's now an internet YouTube star, he's made a lot of money on his conspiracy theories. He was so upset I called it Conspiracy Monday, he left the show. But when I listened to his conspiracy theories, Sarah and I were looking at it, rolling our eyes, going, oh my gosh. And he really is over the top on almost everything I've heard him say. But he went ahead and joined a group called the Lucis Trust Fund, which is a UN roster level organization that works out of the UN. And they have a strange... Yeah, they've got, on their website, they explain how the name of their company came about, and they openly talk about the esoteric meaning of Lucifer. Well, he joined this organization, and right after he joined it, he became the 400th member, he said. He told me he was the 400th member. I said, why would you join a Luciferian organization? He said he was there just to watch. But right after he did that, his YouTube numbers skyrocketed. And he has over 160,000 subscribers now, and he makes a lot of money on his YouTube videos, which he pumps out every day. But we started this Monday show with discussions with him, and he kind of got the interest going in the show, but he didn't want to be characterized as a conspiracy theorist. He refused. And a lot of people don't like the label. And I really don't care what you want to label me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by my beliefs. I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in reptilians. And he does, of course. And I don't believe in the hollow hoax theories that the Holocaust never happened, because I know it did. I've witnessed the Simon Wiesenthal's archives. I've seen various documentaries about what has happened. I also base my beliefs that Israel developed with a deeper meaning, a goal called Zionism. And I'm much more concerned about Zionism than people like conspiracy theorists. We're more concerned about the trend our world is going in and how it's being controlled and dominated by Israeli Mossad operations. So I drifted politically from that guy, but he went on to make a lot of money on YouTube simply by being a member of the Lucis Trust organization. I say no to evil. When I see evil, I walk away. You know, I don't know what's going on in Ecuador. I haven't even tracked the South American situations lately. But it's very disturbing to imagine people becoming so fixated on conspiracies that they lose track of where we're at as a nation. We're being controlled by Russia. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's a fact. And we can also verify that Russia did rig the election according to all of our State Department experts. And that Trump won't even acknowledge that. So that's very disturbing that a president won't even acknowledge that Russia rigged our election so that he'd win. That's why we're in the situation we're in. And the Republicans have become so fixed on not wanting to know anything that they just simply jumped on the bandwagon of it's all a Russian hoax, it's all fake news. Well, when it comes to the shootings at Parkland shooting, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting, or the Mandalay Bay shooting, all these events that have supposedly happened, Trump believes they really happened. He doesn't call those fake news. But you and I who watch the news and track the proof on, and the proof is in the pudding. There's no proof. There's no evidence that anyone even died at these areas. We have no proof, solid proof. I mean, talking autopsy studies that are fully peer-reviewed and looked at. Nothing. And we know that the crisis events are going on around us, yet Trump doesn't call that fake news. That's a little suspicious, don't you think? Yeah, so if you align your belief that I'm a conspiracy theorist, you're wrong. I'm not. I'm a conspiracy factist. I've seen UFOs. I've seen them. I don't believe in them. There's over 600,000 photographs of UFOs in the archives at MUFON. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And I don't consider this a conspiracy theory that Epstein's alive. That's a fact. That is not him. The coroner needs to be charged with a felony in New York. It's not a conspiracy theory that they suppressed 600,000 emails of Anthony Weiner. Actually, 340,000. But that's not a conspiracy theory anymore. That's a conspiracy fact. Not one bit of information has been shared about these things. No, I have only talked about the possibility of the existence of aliens, not that they exist. The Drake equation proves the existence of aliens. No. It's a mathematical equation that's been used to formulate the theory that there is a 100% chance that there's some sort of an alien out there. Do they exist on our plane in this dimension? I can't tell you. There's evidence people have seen ghosts. Soulchild believes she sees ghosts quite often. Real ghosts. I mean, that could be an interdimensional alien being. I'll acknowledge that, but I can't verify it. Oh, play this at the beginning of the show? Beginning of the after show? Okay, I will. It's called Mr. Robot. Yeah, I've seen various versions of this. I haven't seen the most recent year, though. That'll be cool. That was amazing. You know, I did a really interesting comparison of Elvis Presley to a guy who's a caretaker at the Elvis Mansion, the Graceland Mansion and Museum. The caretaker there is now in his 80s, but in 2011 he actually sang in front of a large audience of people and still does various things for his ministry. But the guy was seen publicly in a bar with an Elvis impersonator who happened to be his, apparently, if Elvis had lived, which the theory is he has, it would have been his godson or brother, godson, I think, that was sitting there with him at the time and about ready to deliver a powerful little version of his voice. And I grabbed a little bit of it last night and I played it in the after show. And I played it for others to listen to the current version. I'm not going to do that right now because I've already done it. And I played it for you, and it is pitch perfect. It is identical to Elvis Presley. So if you want to call me a conspiracy theorist, if I believe that Elvis didn't die, that he faked his death, sure, okay. You can call me that. I don't care. But what we're seeing right now, these two men sitting there, I'm going to play a snippet of his voice just to give you a sense of how powerful it is. Anyway, it's super powerful, and this man right there is a, yeah, he's quite a character. He's 85, I guess, now. Yeah, I've actually matched the audio clip perfectly, so I'm thinking I might just show you scientifically that it's exactly the same voice. I'll be working on that later. I haven't quite gotten to it yet. So you think that ghosts and hauntings are the result of large quartz or mineral deposits below the ground that record a moment in time? That's a very interesting theory, Guest 493. You hear that, everybody? Yeah. I don't know that, Stormy Daniels. Sorry. You don't think it is Elvis? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it's really not that important for me to, share the fact that he was wearing a $50,000 bracelet there. And you've got to wonder why a caretaker and why a caretaker would be wearing a $50,000 bracelet. But I'm not here to divert to just stories about Elvis Presley being alive. Yeah, but there's a lot of evidence out there that this man who's the caretaker very likely is him. Priscilla Presley spoke out about her late husband. She was doing an interview with Oprah Winfrey one night, and she spoke about her late husband and talked about how he had been, doing a certain thing back then. And she mentioned that that's what he just said the other day. Now we have a clip of that, Priscilla Presley talking to Oprah Winfrey. And I guess Lisa Marie was there too. But you'll hear Priscilla blurt out that he just said that the other day. And then she looks at the camera knowing that she had to stop. Watch this.
Privileged children are, and Elvis wanted her to have everything. Because he didn't really know. He too grew up very, very poor. Yeah, poor. And it's exactly what he said the other day. Poor, right. Poor.
Yeah. So apparently he said that the other day. Meaning he probably said it the other day. Maybe he's living underground. Right. Jack Posobiec has said that there were two separate Kentucky gun range videos, claimed it was a Syrian attack, then added their reporter on the ground commentary. It's not a mistake. They purposely did it. I know. I saw that. We covered the fake attack earlier. Absolutely. Well, let's be clear. Here it is again. Believe that?
This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought alongside the U.S. against ISIS. Now, horrific reports of atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies.
So ABC's just spinning the story that our poor Kurdish friends are being brutalized and destroyed by Turkey. They want us to remain in war. ABC really is pushing this deep state model. And I got to tell you, Donald Trump is stopping this war in Syria for the purpose of stopping the New World Order. That's great. But there's another theory that the New World Order is already in control of Vladimir Putin and they don't need to have Syria anymore. That was a directive that Zbigniew Brzezinski came out in the 1990, I believe. Zbigniew Brzezinski came out with that. Yeah, one of the most evil men in the world promoted this theory that we should take over and have a new world order, and Syria would be the #1 falling point. Maybe they're abandoning the theory. They already own it. The Russia, they control Vladimir Putin.
The lethality of their power is greater than ever. Their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this, as follows. Namely, in earlier times, It was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. It's easier to kill than to control.
So, in other words, this man, who, by the way, is quite evil, was quite evil, in my opinion, he has 3 children that are running around doing politics in America right now. He's got a daughter and two sons that are working right through the Democratic Republican Party. And his intent really is depopulation. So he meant it. It's easier to kill people than control people now. So what their agenda is, and this is at the backbone of all conspiracy theories, no matter how you look at them, the agenda is to lie to us, to keep us occupied with bread and circuses, divert our attention. There's like 50 movies on Netflix any night you can watch. I mean, let alone all the different video games you could be playing at home. Not to mention the Ashkenazi porn that they put out, the free porn that they provide on the internet. You got all kinds of versions: football, basketball, porn, whatever. You get the point. Is they've got our minds diverted in all different directions while they implement this big plan. Yeah, the big plan. That's what they call it. Yeah. So while you're masturbating for the 5th time because you can't stop, because you're eating hormones that make you more frisky, your brain is drained. Your will to live is just eroded into this masturbatory delight that you seek every day. They know that's how to minimize your ability to think. They've also worked through the media and developed methods to control our mind through music as well. And they've developed that through the Tavistock Institute, which is fully funded and does a tremendous amount of work. Right now, they're developing a plan to push transgenderism more and more. So much so that the Tavistock Institute has actually backed up and had a problem with transgender clinic. But the story of the Beatles really traces back to the Tavistock Institute, a descendant of Adolf Hitler's propaganda mind control. And these psychologists who were neo-Freudians put it all together and realized how to manipulate people through music.
One of the things you talked to me about the other day was the Beatles. Well, the Beatles were the creation of the Tavistock Institute. And you have to go back to the college days on the writings of Aristotle. And I made a note this morning before I came on this program of what he said about music and its influence on politics. He said, emotions of any kind are produced by melody and rhythm. Therefore, by music, a man becomes accustomed to feeling the right emotions. Music has the power to form character, and the various kinds of music based on the various modes may be distinguished by their effect on character. One example, working in the direction of melancholy, another in the direction of effeminacy, one encouragement, abandonment, another self-control, another enthusiasm, and so on through the series. And what I discovered was that the actual Tavistock Institute took this theme. And they said, we are going to put this into practice. And well before Theo Adorno, who was the creator of the Beatles, arrived in England, he was already well known to Tavistock. And he was offered a facility at Scotland at Gordonstoun School, where the royalty were educated. And as soon as he landed he had to flee Germany because he's tinkering with the minds of children through music.
Tinkering with the minds of children through music. So these elitists that are running the world are pedophiles. They like to control the minds of children. They're engaged in molding the personalities. You know that the National Education Association, NEA, was founded by the Rockefellers? Isn't that interesting? Rockefellers put that whole thing together. And the Rockefellers and the Roosevelts and all these groups work together with the Rothschild family at the top of the pyramid. And that's why they control our minds. And the Beatles were used to draw us into this idea of peace and love. And in the 1960s, early 60s, we didn't have anything going on. A lot of young people who were the descendants of the baby boomer generation, were the descendants of people that basically had sex right after the war. There was a large population of young people. They didn't know what to do with them, so they developed this technique to lure them in to music. And not only the Beatles, but the Byrds were also all the family members of the Byrds were military commanders. Everybody who was in the Byrds themselves were related to the military hierarchy. Jim Morrison, the Lizard King, was the son of a commander. Mr. Morrison, the commander, was the guy that got us involved. Later, an admiral got us involved in Vietnam War. So it's weird how they controlled the message from 1965 to 69. The Beatles, man, they went through such a change. Their physical features were almost unbelievable. The differences. I mean, you look at all the faces of these guys. In 4 or 5 years, they went from, like, John Lennon was this way in 65, right? To this way in 67. Yeah. To this way in 69. I mean, complete, and then losing his brain, basically. Acid, they said, was one of the things that caused Lennon to, he admitted to doing LSD. The Beatles brought LSD into our lives, just like Timothy Leary, who was also working for the CIA. So these people all worked on taking your uncles and your grandparents and your parents and turning them into mental midgets. You see, if we wonder why they're babbling and still talking about the Grateful Dead concerts they were going to in '83. I'm sure many of you hear them all the time at the family gatherings. Dude, Bob Weir was looking at me, man. He was communicating with me, man. Jerry Garcia was too, man. And all these mindless people were sucked into the Grateful Dead. Remember that? Well, it turns out the Grateful Dead's parents were all Nazis. How weird is that? Jerry Garcia's father was a Nazi. Bob Weir's father was a Nazi. And why would the Nazis be so involved with our military? Because we invited them in with Operation Paperclip. I don't even know who that is. But Operation Paperclip brought in not only nuclear scientists from Germany, Nazi Germany, but social scientists as well, like the Tavistock. So there's a lot to be concerned about right now. The Nazi takeover really never disappeared. We have 27 minutes with John tonight. We're talking about the pathologies of civilization. That'll be special.
I'm Dave Miller. This is Think Out Loud. John Zerzan doesn't pull his punches. Why pull? Is that true? My understanding is that.
No, I can't have anybody. Here he is on complexity and affluence. Yeah, it seems like all his broadcasts are just solid. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't keep a solid picture of the screen for 30 minutes. We need visual stimulation. No, I'm telling you, we're all basically victims of brainwashing. I would admit that I love the Beatles to this day. I love listening to the Beatles. John unfortunately died. Yeah, he was the best Beatle of all. He died. Paul, there's an allegation that Paul died in 1966 in a car crash. And there's a conspiracy theory to boot about that. And I have a lot of solid evidence to suggest that the Paul we know today is actually a replacement. How dare you? How dare you? But Paul McCartney's before and after pictures are very, very telling. The early Paul pictures were early Jane Asher pictures. Paul, you can see this is the early Paul. Yeah, he had a very, very close relationship with Jane Asher. They were going to be married. Absolutely. And right after 1969, Jane Asher was at a party, and Paul was there, and he wasn't hanging out with her at all. Nobody ever could figure out why they broke up. Jane Asher would probably be the only person alive today who would be able to talk about it. But I've never heard an interview with her at all. But somehow they brought a new Paul in when the old Paul passed away. And the new Paul is not a match. That's a 66% match. Those faces were evaluated by forensic scientists from Italy. And they determined that there's only a 66% match to their face. So, how dare you? I believe he was murdered. Yeah. The nose is different. The lips are different. There's a lot of things different. But the new guy, Fall, they call him, has had a lot of facial reconstructive surgery. And we're stuck with the real Yoko. Yeah, no question about it. But it's interesting to see all these weird, strange conspiracy theories gaining traction over time. It's interesting to note that the current Fall, as they call him, will not take a paternity test. He will not do a paternity test to verify that he's the father of a certain person who claimed to be the real child of the real Paul McCartney. They settled out of court in 2011. He had the court order to take the paternity test, and he settled out of court. He didn't want to do it. So that means that he doesn't want anyone to know. That's fine. I can tell you the real Paul, or the current Paul, I should say, is a really talented guy. And I don't even think the Beatles would have been as great as they were without his work. He plays like 12 instruments, whereas the original Paul played 3. The original Paul was self-taught. He was a classical learned musician. His real name, Paul McCartney's real name was Billy Shears Campbell. And Billy Shears Campbell actually has music out on YouTube. It's called Billy and the Peppers, I believe. And Billy and the Peppers played duplicate songs just like the Beatles. And in 1966, March, he actually had Mercy Mania. Billy Shears Campbell did. And he sounded just like Paul. So he was an impersonator way before others were. And he actually applied for a contest in March of 1966 to become a Beatle. They were running contests to see who would actually match Paul for some reason. They didn't do the other guys. They just did Paul. So in March of 1966, there was big advertisings in all the Beatles fan magazines, of which I read originally when I was a kid, because I was around this when I was a child. That was the first time I was reading, actually. And I saw the ad saying, if you can impersonate Paul McCartney, there's a contest. And this guy, Billy Shears Campbell, was the one to impersonate him. And that's why they actually refer to Billy Shears in the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band release. His name is Billy Shears, is sung by Ringo Starr, and it's a huge thing. It's a lot of references. And all of this goes back to Billy Shears and his Billy Peppers and the Pepper Pots. Oh yeah, my. So he had everything down. He had the voice down. It was amazing how good he was. But what's really strange is that they looked for a replacement in March, and he died November 9th, 1966. That means that they were trying to get rid of him. So if the Tavistock really did create the Beatles, and if Billy and the Pickles, yeah, if Tavistock really did create the Beatles, and then anyone who knew about that would not have been allowed to talk about it. Well, that explains a lot of things. It looks very fishy that if anybody did talk about it, they were terminated. That would explain why we're having a network error. Okay. Randy Lay said he made over $100 US tonight. Thank you. How did you do that, censoring us? Yeah, because I have a network error going on over there. I'm being censored at Twitch. Wow. Randy just said he made $100 over there. How weird. Yeah, he just knocked us off the air. There we go. We're back up again. $100, huh? Wow. Who paid you, man? Yeah, who paid you? You get a quick payment from the Reddit post? Somebody's soliciting somebody to attack us on Reddit. I've yet to see the post, though. Did Ringo Starr just admit that the real Paul McCartney died and was replaced by a look-alike? This is from the Mirror. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, this is a story that continues to spread, that Ringo somehow says this and that, and it's basically a conspiracy theory that gets its own traction online. I don't know if Ringo's ever done an interview about this, but everyone seems to be quoting him, so it's kind of strange. But if they wanted to get rid of people, they certainly could. And there was a guy who was a roadie that worked for the Beatles, and I don't know his name, but he was writing a diary, and he was going to publish a book about all their experiences, and he said it would be a tell-all book, and he died, and they never found his diary. Kind of like Marilyn Monroe's diary of the JFK period. No one ever found her diary either. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories that have evolved over this very strange series of events. It wasn't just Brian Epstein that OD'd on heroin. It was a lot of people died. In the early days of the Beatles, a man named Stuart Sutcliffe was one of the singers, and I seriously believe that he was killed. Stuart Sutcliffe was one of the more better looking of the Beatles, would have made John and Paul look kind of like average looking guys. He was like a male model kind of guy. A brilliant poet who died April 10th, 1962 of a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain hemorrhage. What would have led to that? I mean, he was one of the Beatles. He was in the early stages of the formation of the group. So they went through a lot of people to decide who the top four people were. But they went to Hamburg to find these musicians who were seasoned in working very easily with their music. And they had Pete Best, who was a really good drummer, but he didn't know why he was cut. And then Ringo Starr was brought in. But the combination worked, and they became the most powerful and influential group of the 1960s. Therein lies the problem. They were twisting our minds the whole time. And even their songs, Revolution, Helter Skelter, all models of a breakdown of our society into a drug culture. Not a peace and love movement, but rather the drug movement. So many of us who look back in the 60s are told, yeah, that was the period when people did a lot of drugs. They don't talk about the peace and love movement, the evolved thinking that was going on among a lot of young people about the future of our country. They never question the path we're on with wars that are going on. They refuse to discuss the Vietnam War in after effect. You don't hear anybody in the media talking about it. They don't talk about the Afghanistan war and how we're protecting heroin production worldwide. All this is left not talked about in the mainstream media. So that's why this conspiracy interesting show is all about touching on those issues that we're not allowed to talk about. In our regular broadcast, we usually discuss other issues like the environment on Wednesday, technology on Thursday, but frankly, I would rather discuss these issues 24/7 because they are literally suppressing dialogue in America, and they've done it using a variety of methods. We got 5 people over Twitch. I'm asking the guy who paid you $100. Does anybody know? Somebody knocked us off the internet over there at Twitch and got $100 to do it, and I don't know who's paying him. It looks like a Reddit post that came on to take us down on Twitch. 3 people came in the show earlier and said, "Is this where they make money to attack me?" They literally said that. And Randy Leahy says, "I can't tell you, Dave." He knows that he can tell me, but he knows he won't be able to make $100 tomorrow night doing it. This Randy Leahy said he came in from Cameroon tonight, and he said, "Is this where I make money?" And then he said there was a Reddit post about me and how they can make money. He just said he just made $100. Now he says, I can't tell him. I can't tell you. He won't tell me where his money's coming from. So these people are getting like random donations from like probably GoFundMe or something else. And now he's just, he's in the show. He says, "Yeah, David, I need that money." Yeah, this is the mindset of these people that are willing to commit felonies to do this. It's unbelievable. I can't help you, man. You're doomed. You've taken the money of the devil. Yeah, wherever you go now at this point is on you. Karma is in your hands, man. Yeah, it's not exactly cool. So we're not going to see any slowdown with the impeachment process. It's still going forward despite all the attacks from Donald and tweet against Adam Schiff and whatnot. They've got the power, and they can definitely wield it, and the House can definitely impeach Donald Trump. Hey, yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do that one. That's a little weird. Yeah, I don't really want to show pictures of anybody in whiteface. I was doing it the other night. I showed Snoop Doggy Dogg. Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to show that body of that woman. She's totally naked with whiteface on her body. I don't think that's appropriate. Yeah, sorry, man. I know you really like that video. You've probably been touching yourself over it all night long. But this is definitely Snoop Doggy Dogg doing whiteface. I think he looks a lot like me too. I like that. Yeah, Dave, that's cool, Dave. Yeah, he looks like, I'd say he's a dead ringer. Exactly. So now that we know that we've been brainwashed, I feel so much better. You can free yourself of that worry that maybe your mind is twisted a little bit because of that, So you can't help the way you think sometimes. You may feel a little moody. You never know. Maybe it's a song you listened to when you were younger. Who knows? I have no idea the effects of a lot of things we've heard in music, but I can tell you I certainly like it. I like the Beatles a lot. I even listen to them on Sirius Radio all the time. And it makes me feel good. Isn't it beautiful? Hey, we've got a lot of magazines available to people who are looking for information. If you're an information junkie, we've got a flipboard with 30 magazines in it, all of which are full of information. And with the new controversy about 153 News getting... That's fine. That's your problem. I didn't do it to be funny. I did it as a sarcastic satire about Barack Obama being a liar. It wasn't to denigrate black people. Yeah, here's the flipboard location. And in it, you have 30 magazines. We've got an Epstein magazine that'll really amaze you. There's more than enough evidence that Epstein is alive. I just flipped that one right there into Strange Deaths. That's one of my magazines. But we've got a Reddit room, a few interesting posts from Misanthropy about this David Hogg guy who has an online presence on Reddit, and Misanthropy spotted them, and there's proof there on the Reddit of David Hogg's online personality. I put those in the Reddit room. This is the Epstein link. It's full of stuff. 5G dangers. We've got a section on gun control, and I'm against gun control, of course. The environment page, atmosphere links. This is the one I'm thinking of copying this. Everything on here may disappear, you never know. And they're easy to download. I'm thinking of going in there and just setting my hard drive up just to download some basic copies of all this stuff, because 153 News just got a letter from a German government. They're not allowed to broadcast anything, it seems. Because of the recent supposed terrorist attack in Germany, they were told to cease and desist their publication of any videos that should suggest that it was not a legitimate event. I mean, we're not allowed to question any event. They pull the videotapes left and right off of people's what 153 News has done is created huge rack servers dedicated to supplying us information that's being kicked off of YouTube. California and gold, really. Yeah.
Men like Leland Stanford.
Wow, that's a little weird. I'm not going to play that tonight. Sorry. You really think I should play that? I'll put it in the deep recesses of the show. Yeah, that's if I have a 3-hour documentary I probably won't get to either. Epstein's still alive. He doesn't save you anything. Epstein's still being used. He's being used by people to control others. Yeah. A lot of people are a little upset by the NBA right now. Let's look at Jack Posobiec and his Twitter. LeBron bowing to China like a coward will have a massive ripple effect and the opposite of the one corporate America wants. Jack Posobiec. He's advocating for freedom for Hong Kong. Well, I'm okay with people using their fame to protest. Yeah, look at all the good that Dennis Rodman did going over to North Korea, and now Donald Trump hates his good friend who's a mass murderer. See how much we've really accomplished? Not. Donald Trump likes North Korea. He still stands behind Kim Jong-un, even though Kim Jong-un's firing missiles off the bow of Tokyo. Well, he does. Epstein didn't declare his entire assets. He declared $578 million. He had far more than that. Yeah, North Korea is still not really working with the denuclearization plan, are they? So this poor guy in Cameroon said that he had to have $100 to do this online. And this is so pathetic, everybody. He came in here saying, somebody on Reddit said he could make money by doxing our show, and he's good at doxing. He shut our show down just for a couple minutes. And he said, I can't tell you, David, it's from Reddit. I don't know. Yes, David, I need that money. I love money. I get to eat tomorrow. This is a man who's starving, who knows some computer techniques at the local library. I don't have any money for you. I never asked you to attack our show. That was a Reddit post. How crazy is that? I'm having a conversation with a guy who thinks he's going to make $100. I asked him how he got paid. He won't tell me. And now he's telling me I need to send him the money. I'm not involved, sir. I'm not trying to censor my own show. Is that logical to you? Froggy, he never went to prison. Epstein Epstein didn't go to prison. He got released. He's back at Epstein Island. He's already been seen there. 20 days after he was released, he's back on the island. He even said that he wants to spend the rest of his life secretly on the island by himself. Oh, they sent you the money? They paid you by a Bitcoin. Check it out. Seriously, folks, they just sent him $100 so he can eat tomorrow. I mean, this is for real. This guy really is. He doxed our show for a short period of time because he has some hacking skills. And he said they paid me via Bitcoin, Mr. David. You get to eat tomorrow. Wow. Well, thank you for telling me the truth. At least you told me the truth, man. I wish I could convince Sarah of all these things that are going on behind my back. You have a local Bitcoin place you can go. See, she thinks you're trolling me and you're just like a guy pretending to be from Cameroon. We have a local Bitcoin ATM I can go to. Wow. Could you tell me a little something like the capital of Cameroon? Could you tell me that? You can't. You can't come up with the capital of Cameroon? But you live there in Cameroon? Well, what is the name of the capital? He got it. Yaoundé is the correct answer. You got it. You didn't take too long to come up with that answer. So I believe you're credible. I do believe you are living in Yaoundé. I'm zooming in on your IP address. We have triangulated your location to this location outside of Yaoundé. I'm going to the satellite photograph reconnaissance. You're being tracked. We're zooming in on his location. He is in a small hut right near this street right here. Going to foot map. Hey, thanks for coming in and telling me that you are trolling me and making $100 through Bitcoin. I wish I could trace the Bitcoin. I wish I could trace the transaction, but you told me enough to verify it's happening. Final Dream is here. I think I got enough information from him. You know, it doesn't take that much to confirm this guy's from Cameroon. He's broke. He can't eat. He's starving. People do anything for money. That's what this show has evolved to. We're being trolled by people abstractly taken out of the worst situations looking for money. He said, I hope I'll be able to afford my own internet one day. So he's probably in some public library doing this. Isn't that sad? It's not just sad. If only Greta was here. I know. Well, I think we're done with the Greta thing. I don't think we're going to be bringing it up too much tonight. I don't want to keep going back there because it's disturbing to remind myself of this child who's been victimized and exploited by George Soros, only to become the poster child of worldwide pollution and her concern about it. It's like, yeah, we're all concerned about it. It happens. So like right now, I'm flipping the Zuckerberg story. Mark Zuckerberg has been holding private dinners with conservatives, big people. I'm flipping it in New World Order. So that's how I do it. I just flip it right in there, and that stores it in my Flipboard, which has all of our links, which helps. This is a terrible video. If you haven't seen it, I'll play it again for you.
Apparently your hand's broken. You're unable to do it yourself.
Never said my hands broke. I said under what law? You're not informing me. Under what law?
I don't have to inform you with shit. I ask you to open your door. You can open
What's your name,
door.
sir?
None of your goddamn.
And what's your
business.
badge number?
None of your business. That's my badge number. How about this? How about you open your fucking door?
And what's going to
bring
happen?
back-
With your
Yeah.
intimidation and your incrimination, what's going to happen?
I don't give a fuck, dude. And I'll tell you this right
You're
now.
weird, bro.
Oh, this is going to
You're
get
scaring
real
me.
bad. Good. I hope you are scared. Who
I
all
am.
you got in the room with you? Is it just
Who
you?
are you?
Don't worry about it.
What's your badge number? What's your name? What is the
None
what
of
is
your business.
And under what law and what grounds are you trying to come in here on?
You're a tenant on this property, bud. You don't have any rights.
All right. Let me see something. What just happened, bro? Turn my phone off, man. Yeah, now what?
Hey, let's go. Oh, nothing. We're just sitting here.
You never identified yourself. This is the wrong person. You guys are still harassing me? Y'all still harassing me? Y'all don't even know who he is. Y'all don't even know who he is. You 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 don't even know who he is.
On the ground.
You don't even know who he is. You don't even know who he is.
On the ground.
I already been to your office, bro. You guys been harassing me.
I know you. I know who you are.
Who is? Say his name then.
You want back
now what? Why you guys trying to do it behind the wall, away from everybody? And why is she trying to block me? I'm not walking up to her. I'm gonna walk away. Now move. Look, he's trying to. Wow, look. He just fucked up. Keep that's money. That's money. That's the wrong.
So this is a common tactic now. Cops are using extreme force almost everywhere they can. It's going on all the time now. Yeah, so we are going to need, with this third party, we're going to need to order sensitivity training and a shoot to maim policy versus a shoot to kill policy, because what's happening is every year 1,200 people on average are dying because of cops in America, and more than half of them are unarmed. They have not even a pocket knife on them. More than half of them are disabled as well. Now, that's not to say there may be a disabled person with a pocket knife, vice versa. There may be a... Anyway, it's going on. We're going to have to tie our purse strings. Giving money out, federal money doled out to these police departments will have to be withheld if they have abuses and don't have training schedules. We're going to have to do something. It's bad. It's getting worse too. Yeah, we know you're gay. I mean, that's okay. You can be gay all you want, man. Nobody cares if you're gay. I don't want to discriminate against you based on your gayness. I don't even know if I want to discriminate against you. Is it illegal to discriminate against anyone? Does anybody know? You know, there's no law that says you can't discriminate. Don't we all discriminate against people in general? We call it discernment. Like, ew, you look like a slob. Or, wow, you look pretty good. Nice shoes. You must be rich. That kind of thing, you know? That's discrimination. I've created these generic, actually Meta-Nemesis created these generic images of Sarah and I. And there doesn't appear to have any specific, identities, so. We're trying to minimize our personality so we don't have to, in any way affect you. This is my version of the politically correct Dave, There he is, Mr. Politically Correct. Would never say a bad word. Always saying nice things. But that doesn't last long. Down with the cops. There you go. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Now you're saying Mr. Mark Vaughn told you you'll be rich? Now you're telling me Mark Vaughn solicited you on Reddit? You didn't tell me that before. You said Mr. Mark Vaughn told me I will be rich, so he's giving you money to attack our show. Huh. Okay, we'll keep you posted here. I didn't realize you were contacted by Mark. So you saw the word Mark Vaughn in the Reddit. Well, that could be somebody impersonating him too. There's no telling who that is. We don't know. Well, I'm upset that this is happening. We've been censored, and I feel more like Greta now.
popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution or the...
You know, I don't think she wrote this. I think somebody else wrote it, and I'm pretty sure it's George Soros. I'm still talking about her, yeah. I plan on talking about her for all the way through Halloween. Because like I said, I'm thinking of getting a Greta mask and becoming Greta for Halloween. It's just it's the best thing to do, I think, to really shock my show, you know, get the shock value. But then again, is this a professionally edited video where because I don't want to be a 16-year-old girl, you know? I don't want to be a 16-year-old girl. I want to be a 59-year-old man named David. I want to be known as David, not a little girl. You've taken my adulthood away from me. That's not true, Kiefer boy. You lost your count over that. I'm just sick and tired of the whole idea that we should just forget about Greta because she sounds like a nutcase. I think she's got some legitimate points. She's traumatized, but don't you agree she has some legitimate points? Press 1 if you think the environment's screwed up. Bingo. Thank you. Bingo. People live in a fool's paradise if you think the environment's not screwed up. Yeah, but I don't want cap and trade. Don't get me wrong. You want me to play Friend Like Me from Will Smith? Oh yeah, I'll consider that later tonight. Thanks. But so you doubly think it's screwed up. Not only one, but you spent two too. And Misanthropy, of course you believe the world is screwed up. You don't like humanity because of it. You blame humanity for what's happened in the world. It's as if you blame the machine, Mr. Anderson. You blame humanity. It's the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. They've convinced you that you live in a cesspool, when in reality you live in a pristine world of your own, Mr. Anderson, all created by virtual reality. Yeah, the environment they created is screwed up. That's why you dislike them. Exactly. Thank you. I'll bet if you grew up in a pristine environment, you'd be happier. Everything is beautiful in its own special, screwed up, toxic way. Trump followed his gut on Syria, but calamity came fast. This is the New York Times, and we can't prove that any calamity is happening right now. Trump followed me on this, not his gut. And I don't believe that there's going to be a problem with the ceasefire. The U.S. immediate ceasefire urged in Syria as it sanctions Turkey. I think this will actually work out real well for both Turkey and the Kurds. Yeah, everybody will be happy. Drudge says that Erdogan has 50 nukes. That's very, very, very suspicious that he would have 50 nukes. How could he have ever gotten nukes? Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to believe. Russia wouldn't have sent him nukes. They sent him S-400s, though. We know that. We have a concern that Beans is a xenophobe. Beans doesn't actually communicate on that level. He doesn't communicate. He's more of a broadcast chatter. He won't interact with you. He'll broadcast at you. He's very good at it, too. He goes up by many different names. He's actually camped out in my chat room for an entire night just chatting with himself. He's that good. Yeah, don't be a xenophobe, Zeno. That's right. So reducing our characters to these mindless cartoons really makes more sense, don't you think? That way, when you think about us, you can think about nothingness. So Trump has his own arguments. They are very valid. He says there was no quid pro quo, and unless they can prove that the favor that he asked Zelensky, President Zelensky, was a favor to get dirt on Joe Biden or his son, then basically Trump has a suitable response. No quid pro quo, it's all a Russian hoax. Trying to get through this. Here's a story. The Black Panther deepfake trailer recast Barack Obama as T'Challa. This is T'Challa.
My name is King T'Challa, son of King T'Charka. I am the sovereign ruler of the nation of Wakanda.
You know, I didn't realize that Barack was an actor, but this is the first I've ever seen of him. Nursing home mogul Philip S. Forum sentenced to 20 years for $1.3 billion Medicaid fraud. Wow. That's a lot of money to be Medicaid fraud in Chicago? No, really? That's like the side business of the mob. Former Illinois and Florida nursing home mogul Philip Esformas wept and pled for mercy Thursday before being sentenced to 20 years in prison for what the U.S. Justice Department called the largest single healthcare bribery and kickback scheme in American history. A separate hearing will be held in November to determine the amount of money and property Esformas may be required to forfeit. Okay, Esformas, you did not do very well.
Authorities are calling the largest single healthcare fraud scheme in U.S. history. According to the Justice Department allegations, Philip Esformas and a small coterie of corrupt medical professionals, many of whom are testifying against him currently, created a labyrinth of kickback and bribery schemes in order to shuttle patients through about 20 Florida nursing homes that Esformas operates. He also runs those homes from offices here in Illinois. The scope of the schemes is staggering. Authorities are saying that $1 billion in illicit kickbacks and fees took place.
That's a lot. I mean, $1 billion. We spend about $300 billion over budget because of Obamacare, and this guy fleeced the government $1 billion of that $300 billion. Yeah. Oprah could do so much more if she could contribute. She's worth $2.5 billion now. What area would you like to live, Ticken? You're trying to escape your gay roommate? You broke up? Yeah. Where would you like to move to? So you can escape with his roommate. Well, the bottom line is Oprah is controlled. She's part of the African secret society that Bill Cosby is a member of. That's what I've been told. They've got a lot of power. Hey, you know, Randy, good luck in your life. If you continue to dox me, you will be prosecuted. Yeah. Wow.
Author Gail Giorgio spent years investigating Elvis's death.
The famous National Enquirer picture
does not look like Elvis Presley.
Skeptics felt that the photo resembled a much younger Elvis and not the 42-year-old king.
Many people said it looked like a wax dummy. There were beads of sweat. Dead bodies do not sweat. Wax will beat up in the hot sun. It was an August afternoon.
I saw him at the house, and I felt his hands. And so I know Elvis passed away.
Others suggest that Elvis's gravestone is the key to the mystery.
Elvis always spelled his name A-R-O-N, but at Graceland, his headstone is double A-A-R-O-N.
The second A is supposed to stand for alive.
But there is apparently a simple explanation for that extra letter.
Later on in life, he said, I want to be the way it's in the Bible, with 2 A's. And Vernon knew that's what he wanted, and that's why Vernon put that on the gravesite.
Los Angeles. She currently supports Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Shay, what's your question?
It's Shia Diamond.
Shia Diamond.
Put that on the record.
Okay. It's on the record. Thank you.
Yes, honey. It's violence to misgender or to alter a name of a trans person. So let's always get that right first. So the first thing I would like to say is the National Trans Visibility March happened last week. And we didn't see much representation from cisgender people. And we want to just know, if you are elected as president, will you have a group of transgender people to counsel you or advise you?
Shia?
Shia.
All right. I absolutely would do that. And
I'm sorry, I can't allow any time to my competitors, Pete Buttplug. I just don't think that we can give him any airtime tonight. Thank you, though. He looks so stupid. How did he ever graduate from Harvard? I don't understand why anyone would cater to the LGBTQ community. It was Castro. Oh, thanks. See, I know no difference between Castro and Buttplug. Yeah, let's take a look at Castro versus Buttplug. You're right. He doesn't look like Buttplug at all. I was mistaken. I stand corrected. Okay. Now there is a distinct similarity between their faces. No question about it. I mean, you can understand my... Okay. Let's take a look here. This is Julian Castro, and this is Pete Buttplug, Buttgig. You can definitely see a similarity in their faces, right? I would think so, yeah. But I believe that they're both imposters, that they're really representatives of what one would call the deep state. We're in fact looking at various versions of Alfred E. Newman. Clearly, they're all various. This is the Latina version, this is the gay version, and this is, of course, Alfred E. Newman. People say I look like Alfred E. Newman. You know, I kind of look like Pete Buttplug, too. Look at that. Dave, we've been keeping our eye on you, and we've been seeing a lot of the work you've been doing online, and we're watching you from the Democratic Party, dude. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the clarification. I had no idea they looked alike. Charlie McCarthy, yeah, that too. Alfred E. Newman is a version of Charlie McCarthy. You're right. It's like the latter version. I would pull into the train station normal. I wouldn't jump a track. Yeah, if you don't know who Charlie McCarthy is, there was a famous character, Bergen and McCarthy, Radio Classics. But Charlie McCarthy had a unique look. I'd say that's different than Alfred E. Newman. You say I look more like Charlie McCarthy? I think you're right. Look at that. Very similar face. If I were a puppet, that's exactly what I would look like. But that I am not a puppet. I am a human being. I'm a cybernetic organism. Human flesh over metal exoskeleton. You can't fool me. I'm human. Okay, this is getting a little weird. I knew you'd caught me. I came back after many years away from television and entertainment, and now I'm doing my own show. I no longer need a ventriloquist. Very similar cheekbones. Thank you. I don't know, mispronounced names being an act of violence. I think the woman, if she did spend 10 years in jail for violence, she would know what violence is. She would. I exercise First Amendment right. Yes, exactly. And I am declining any comments about this character that Men in Nemesis created. Yeah, I think we've covered the territory tonight. I mean, it doesn't get much more conspiracy-oriented than the Beatles being replaced and, yeah, depopulation trends. We did touch on chemtrails a little bit. Money's really at the root of all evil, the love of money. And that's really what's driving these conspiracies forward. You know, anytime you've got a person hooked in your life that you can't get rid of and you're addicted to them, you just have to just accept your fate and love the present that you are. That's the reason why they call it a present. The present. It's a present. Just because somebody else is coming to your house, you're freaking out. You know you're not going to leave your lover. There's 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. Get out the back, Jack. Get a new plan, Stan. I don't know what the answer is to your problem, man. Oh, you didn't know they were involved? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I divulged that secret, Ticken. Why else would he be living with his old guy and his nephew? Give me a break. Okay, we're reaching the end of the show now. It's the 10 o'clock hour. I can't tell you how many more stories will be fake tomorrow in the news. If ABC will be running more fake videos of Kurds being allegedly bombed. They've already admitted this is fake. This was from a gun exhibit done in Turkey. This is not a real video. They called this a slaughter in Syria, and they even admitted it's fake. So what can I say, man? We'll find out if any more fake news will be coming up later in the week. Wow. A lot of different things linked in here. We're just checking out. Okay, as promised, we got a little Bob Marley to start things off with, and then we'll go to a Mr. Robot Season 4 episode beginning, The New World Order, courtesy of Misanthropy. All right, guys, thanks for coming in and hanging out in our show tonight. It's always an interesting experience no matter what we talk about, because we do deal with the news. And that's always evolving. Okay. It should be the ending song? Okay, you got everything lined up for me here. Wow, okay. I don't know if I can compete, man. And we'll do that later tonight. Okay, and this is me signing off for another wonderful hour. Happy New Year. This is Columbus Day, so happy Columbus and Indigenous Native American Day. Yeah, good luck. I'm Mr. Right, signing off.
My feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt away. Mr. Right, too good. Just turn my world around, cause you're the peace I find. If you sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt away.